is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
A win today would extend your Rangers' home series winning streak to a magic 7. Today's starter, Colby Lewis, has a few impressive streaks of his own. How about 5 straight starts of 7 innings pitched? Or 10 starts without suffering a loss? His challenge today is Mike Trout and the Angels as this series concludes. Fox Sports Southwest has all the action next. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT high-speed internet. It is a cloudy, breezy, warm afternoon here in North Texas. Rangers, though, hoping to clear things up, at least against their division foes, as they look for a win and a series victory, taking on the Los Angeles Angels. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Graves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us for this matinee edition of Ranger Baseball on this Wednesday afternoon. Rangers played well last night, and this afternoon they have their most consistent pitcher going, Colby Lewis.
Yeah, Colby won 17 games for the Rangers last year. He's been a force in the postseason in the past for the Rangers, but you'd be hard-pressed to find a stretch of 9 starts where he's been better or more consistent than he has been so far this year. In his last 5 starts, he's gone 7 innings in each start. He's walked 2 and struck out 24. He's had terrific stuff. He lost some weight. He's healthy. He's never been better than he is right now. And when he's on the mound, you expect a game where he pitches deep into the ball game and gives up only 2 or 3 runs at the most.
And you expect the ball to be put in play, therefore the Ranger defense coming into play quite a bit, and that has been a strong point for the team this year. So the Rangers trying to take the series from the Halos. Rougned Odor and company getting set. We'll be back with the starting lineup and the first pitch right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Great American Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. By AT high-speed internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Rangers and the Angels getting set to wrap it up. The typical pregame fare in that Ranger dugout. Always loose, always getting ready to take on their opponent. And Rougned Odor leading the charge onto the field here in just moments. Before he does that, let's head down and check in with Emily Jones.
Well, Buzz, as you and Tom talked about at the top of the show, Colby Lewis, by all indications, appears to be getting better with age, and he is embracing his ever-evolving game.
I think it's kind of fun too, you know, get out of certain situations and it's not really making up pitches, but it's kind of, I'm going to tell yourself I'm going to take a little bit off of this one or throw this one a little bit harder or whatever, and that's kind of all I've been really doing. It's just kind of missing the middle of the plate and just working the corners and getting ahead of guys and get quick outs,
And Colby really does credit that off-season regimen of bike riding, losing some of that weight, being comfortable on the mound, all of those things for the success that he's had so far this season. He says he feels just as comfortable, if not more so, than he has his entire career, which is a good sign for Ranger fans, Buzz.
Thanks, Em. Yeah, certainly his numbers would back him up on that. He has been extremely good, unbeaten this year. And he's facing an Angel lineup today that can be tough, has been tough on him in the past. Tom's going to tell you about this Angel batting order.
Yeah, the Angel batting order has 7 guys in the lineup who have been hot. Yunel Escobar has been hot, .353 in his last 25 games. He's the leadoff hitter. Cole Calhoun is in right field. Mike Trout bats third. Albert Pujols is the DH. C.J. Cron is at first base. Got off to a slow start, but .305 over the last month. Johnny Giavotella is at second base, batting 6th. Rafael Ortega is the left fielder. He'll bat 7th. Jet Bandy is the catcher today, and batting 9th is the shortstop, Gregorio Petit.
And that Mike Scioscia lineup will face the 36-year-old right-hander Colby Lewis. Colby making his 10th start of the year, 3-0, but that's a little bit deceiving. He has left the ball game 4 different occasions with the lead that the bullpen has not been able to hold. So that win-loss record a little on the low side. Opponents hitting just .242 against the veteran right-hander. And Colby, 5 straight starts now with 7 innings of work, and that is the best run in his career. One of only a few pitchers in the major leagues this year to have a streak that long of 7 innings or more. Clayton Kershaw, Johnny Cueto, and Chris Sale, the only others that can match that. And the first pitch of the ball game to Yunel Escobar is a breaking ball for strike 1. Escobar, one of the hot hitters that Tom was talking about, a .309 average with 3 home runs. Little introductory pitch from Colby Lewis. So, hi, how are you today? Escobar has driven in 11. Wraps one to left field. That is going to go to the wall, and Escobar is going to have a leadoff double as Rua gets the ball back in. Escobar better hurry. That's a pretty good throw.
If somehow Ryan was able to launch that long distance throw and have it beyond the bag, I think Escobar would have been out. Got to the wall quickly. It's pretty difficult, though, to pick that ball off the wall, throw it that far as fast as you can, and then throw it perfectly accurate to second base. That's asking a lot. And that's what it would have taken, is a perfect throw to get him. That looked like a hanging slider right near the middle of the plate. That's something Colby talked about, something he hasn't done very much this year.
Yep.
Is hit the middle of the plate with a slider. Generally, that's right down low and away where he wants it, but Escobar got a good pitch to hit, and he hit it.
So, leadoff man aboard in scoring position for the Angels. That brings up Cole Calhoun. 1 ball and no strikes. Calhoun brings in a 4-game hitting streak. He has been one of the Angels that has been swinging the bat well. He has also fared well against Colby Lewis at .387 career average against the Ranger right-hander. Hit hard and by Moreland into right field. Escobar being waved around third. Long throw in by Mazzara. It goes over everybody, and that allows Cole Calhoun into second as the run scored. And Elvis Andrews out there alerting the Ranger bench as to you might want to take a look at that slide at second base. But the Angels on top early here, 1-0.
Well, that was a hard hit smash. Occasionally an infielder will be able to snare one of those things, but it's asking a lot. Let's look at the play on the throw. Unless he came off the bag. Didn't look like it. He was pretty easily safe at second base, it looked like.
Yep, I would agree. And Ranger bench showing no inclination to appeal that particular call. So 1-0. Cole Calhoun at second now. Still nobody out. Mike Trout is the hitter. Trout a .326 average as Colby hits the outside corner.
Calhoun got a good pitch to hit and ripped it. When a ball is hit that hard, hooking and then bouncing right in front of the fielder, it's potluck whether you can catch that one. A guy like Mitch has a better chance than most, but if he can't make that play, it's pretty much an unplayable ball.
Well, Calhoun credited with the RBI single. He moves to second on the throw. Down to second goes the throw from Bobby Wilson, but not in time. No balls and 2 strikes to Trout. Mike Trout, one of the guys that over the years has punished Colby pretty effectively. .394 average with 4 home runs. 1-2. Colby trying to get things back together here. Get an out in the first inning. Cole Calhoun getting his lead from second. Trout able to check his swing on that slider. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Umpiring crew here this afternoon. And Ryan Blackney behind the plate. Angel Hernandez at first, Will Little at second, and Ted Barrett, the crew chief, is down at third. Now 3-2. So Colby not able to make the pitch after getting ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Run the count full to Trout. Mike Trout hitting third. He'll be followed by the designated hitter, Albert Pujols. High fly ball. Playable. Ian Desmond coming in as the wind has its full effect on it.
Wow, I'll say.
That wind coming in out of the south at 15, 18 miles an hour and really played havoc with that high fly ball.
Yeah, again, it's the kind of day where if you hit it as high as Trout hit that ball, the wind will knock it down. When Ian go back and over, that's where the ball looked like it was going to go. This is what the wind did to it, caused him to run in that far, that fast to make the play. A line drive won't be affected the same way, but if you hit it that high, at least right now anyway, the wind will blow it back towards second base.
Ian kind of a wry smile on his face. And gee, hadn't seen one of those before. You know, he's getting a complete education in the early part of this year on playing center field at Globe Life Park. It's a little bit different than most other facilities. So 1 away. Here's Pujols. And he takes strike 1. Albert hitting at .224 with 9 home runs. Drove in his 31st run last night to tie Mike Trout for the team leadership in that category. 10 for 29 against Colby Lewis. 1-1. Pujols moving up the all-time home run list, the all-time RBI list, all-time doubles list, you name it, power-wise, and he is certainly on it. 2-1. Pujols' 9th home run of the year came on Monday. That was his 569th in his storied career, tying Rafael Palmeiro for 12th. And he's now just 4 shy of matching Harmon Killebrew. You know, front door breaking ball. Slider caught the inside corner. 2-2. And Pujols needs 2 RBI to tie Honus Wagner for 21st on the all-time list. All this for a guy who's at 36 and he has 5 years left on his contract with the Angels. And we'll take a look while we have a second. The Ranger defense is delivered to you by the New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. Rua, Desmond, and Mazzara left, center, and right. Moreland and Odor on the right side of the infield. Elvis Andrus and Adrian Beltre on the left with Bobby Wilson working behind the plate, and Colby Lewis on the hill. Angels an early 1-0 lead. Colby trying to put the clamps on it here. Pujols in this series just 1 for 7. That one, though, as we mentioned, that home run. It was the deciding hit of the game on Monday night. Angels won it 2-0. Both runs scoring on Pujols' bomb. Fan following the Tom Grieve catch and release.
There you go.
Suggestion.
Not a bad idea.
Brought his glove out with him, made the catch, and made that young man's day.
Yep. And next to him brought a glove as well. Never too old to bring a glove.
Hard hit, but pulled foul down the left field line. Albert Pujols mentioned the RBI total. 21st is his next rung on that ladder. Frank Robinson is 20th, 1,812, which would be 81 in front of Albert. Pujols getting pieces of pitches on either side of the plate.
Yeah, Kobe's got him reaching for the ones away and pulling the balls inside, way foul.
Yu Darvish on the Ranger bench, and he will be starting here on Saturday against the Pirates. His first outing since August of 2014. Be good to see you back out there between the white lines at Globe Life Park. Breaking ball, see you later. Pujols gave up on it, and he's going to give the home plate umpire Blackney a little bit of his mind, and Mike Scioscia is normally incredulous look.
Well, it's a pitch a hitter will never think is a strike. It's way up and barely comes back to touch the corner of the top of the strike zone. I'm sure Pujols felt like that ball was about a foot inside, the way he lifts his hands. He probably still will argue that it wasn't a strike, but he probably would be surprised to see how close it ended up near the strike zone.
So Colby, after giving up the double and single to start the inning, gets Trout on a fly ball, strikes out Pujols. 2 gone, C.J. Cron, the batter. Cron did not play in last night's ball game.
That's the slider Colby's featured for 9 starts this year. Escobar got one that was pretty good to hit the first time up, and to his credit, he hit it. Well, that's pretty much where Colby has had that slider all season long.
C.J. Cron, another Angel hitter that has been hot. Fouls that out to the right. 0-2. Cron in his last 29 ball games has hit .305, 29 for 95 over that span. First 20 ball games, he drove in a grand total of 3. Last 21, 15. Pretty good increase in production. Colby's got him down on the count. No, no balls and 2 strikes, and the appeal down to first. No swing. Angel Hernandez down there said no, he didn't go. Now 2-2. Now Colby forced to work overtime here. This will be his 25th pitch of the inning coming up.
Yeah, Colby for the season has averaged only 14.7 pitches per inning, one of the lowest in the league.
Just off the outside corner. That runs the count full. Colby trying to be pinpoint and missed by about the width of a pin. Bill Crone with a full count. He is batting fifth. He'll be followed by Johnny Giovatello. Cole Calhoun getting his lead from second. Payoff pitch. In the air to center field. And Ian Desmond right there. Good job of working around. Back-to-back hits and a run scored to start the inning. Angels put one on the board. After a half inning, it's the Angels 1, the Rangers coming up on Fox Sports Southwest. Out to a quick 1-0 lead. The Rangers coming to bat in the bottom of the first. Here's Tom with the Southwest Airlines Rangers order.
Rougned Odor will lead off. Ian Desmond has his average all the way up to 287. He's batting second. Prince Fielder is third. Adrian Beltre will play third and clean up today. Nomar Mazzara is fifth. Ryan Rua is playing left field. Mitch Moreland is at first. Elvis Andrus is batting eighth. And Bobby Wilson is the catcher, and he'll bat ninth.
And Hector Santiago's first pitch is butted. It is a good one, and Odor is going to have an infield single. It was turned out to be a foot race between Odor and Hector Santiago. And if you were betting on that, the line was about 3-5 for Rougned.
Rougned's a pretty good bunter for a base hit. And when you're struggling, it's not a bad idea. You can see the third baseman was playing in, so it would be difficult to bunt it down the third baseline. So he drags the bunt toward first, put it in a very difficult location for anyone to field, and then outran the play to first base.
Odor hitting the tape about 3 strides in front of Santiago. No, Rangers get the leadoff man aboard here is the scalding hot Ian Desmond. Ian Desmond hitting at 286 with 6 home runs, 26 RBI. 3-for-7 against Santiago. Inside for ball one. Santiago, a 28-year-old out of Newark, New Jersey, came over to the Angels in a 3-team trade with the Diamondbacks and the White Sox in the offseason after the 2013 season. 6 feet tall, 215 pounds. There goes Odor. The pitch is a strike. The throw is late into center field, and Odor is going to take third.
Well, that was one of those plays, Buzz. We saw a couple of jumps against the Astros where the base runner had a huge jump, and that was one of them right there. Bandy probably would have been better off holding onto the ball. Odor's got a running start. Santiago was slow to the plate. And you can see how far away from an out that would have been even with a good throw. Throw goes into center field. The Rangers in pretty good shape to tie this ball game. Infield back up the middle. Ground ball in that direction will score a run, and obviously a fly ball deep enough will too.
Ground ball deep in the hole. Petit has it on to first. Odor down the line to score, and Ian Desmond is 27th RBI of the year. We are back dead even. It's 1-1.
Other than the at-bat counting on your batting average, that's the same thing as a 400-foot sacrifice fly. Man on third. You've got the infield back. You want to avoid trying to pull the ball to the third baseman. If you hit it up the middle in any direction, that's going to score Odor from third. The Rangers get the run back. Bunt, a stolen base, an error, and a ground ball.
Here's Fielder. Takes outside for ball one. Prince at 198 currently. Took an 0 for 4 last night. 9 for 35 in his career against Hector Santiago. Ooh, he had a pitch there to work with. 1-1. Prince Fielder saying, you know, just the consistency of it hasn't been there for him. And he says, if I knew why, I would change it. But I don't know why. Therefore, it's going to have to work itself out.
Well, in that regard, he's in a good position because his spot in the lineup is not in jeopardy. And if you go by the theory that sooner or later a good hitter is going to get hot, it's just a matter of time before he does, and he'll get a chance to do it because he'll be in the lineup when it happens. You don't have that status and you're benched, it's tough to get hot.
And he has gone on strikes for the second out here in the first inning. Adrian Beltre coming up. Now with Adrian stepping into the plate, how about our TXU Energy power player to watch? And it is the Ranger third baseman. 6 of his 8 career hits against Hector Santiago have gone for extra bases. 3 doubles, 3 home runs. You know, Adrian pretty much had his way with the Angel left-hander. 1 ball and no strikes. Matter of fact, Beltre over the years has pretty much had his way with the Angels in general. Career highs for any opponent. Adrian has hits, doubles, home runs, RBI. Out of play down the right side. Now we have a second here. How about the rest of the Angel defense for you this afternoon? Got Ortega in left, Trout in center. Calhoun is in right. Crone and Giavotella on the right side. Petit and Escobar on the left side with Jet Bandy behind the plate. First time that he is caught against the Rangers. He got an introduction into what the Rangers have loved to do against the Angels for the last several years, and that's run.
Yeah, for a lefty, Santiago didn't do much to hold Odor at first base. I think a veteran catcher might have held on to that ball and not thrown it, but can't blame Bandy. He's the catcher getting an opportunity to play for Mike Scioscia, who was a former catcher. He's trying to impress him with his throwing arm. Just got it a little bit too high.
Check swing on that hard breaking ball down and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I can remember 4 years ago, Rangers went into Anaheim and just ran crazy for a series. And Mike Scioscia was about the same color as the jersey tops the Angels have on. Deep in the hole at short, Petit across the diamond. That'll do it. But Rougned Odor starts off with a bunt single, steals second, scores on an infield out. We'll go to the second. 1-1 the score. Thursday afternoon crowd on hand for the matinee affair. A 1-1 ball game as Colby Lewis back out to the mound. Thirsty afternoon out here. You gotta make sure you stay hydrated. Johnny Giovatello starting things off, and some Cracker Jacks for you too. That's ballpark fare at its best. Giovatello had his 12-game hitting streak snapped last night. He has been a force in the Angel batting order for the last several weeks now. He's hitting .341 over his last 21 ball games. And you can see he's had great success against Colby Lewis. 5 out of 11. One pitch. Hit well to left field. That's over Rua's head and off the wall on a hop. And Giovatello steaming into second. Just as the first inning began with Escobar's leadoff double, the second inning begins with Giovatello's double.
Yeah, when we talk about the Angel hitters, there's almost every hitter in the lineup has some type of a good streak going. Some are for 20 at bats, some are for 30 games. But they're a team that's scoring runs much better this month than they did in the month of April. In the month of April, they scored 3.3 runs per game. In the month of May, they've scored 4.7 runs per game. So the Rangers in the first 2 games of the series only gave up 3 runs. The Ranger pitching has been terrific. They've held the Angels pretty well. A team that's been hot in the month of May.
Well, Giovatello at second. Rafael Ortega takes strike one. Ortega, .260 average. 6 RBI, does not have a home run. And Colby just missing outside with that. 1 ball and 1 strike. Colby trying to stay out there to prevent him from pulling the ball to advance Giovatello. Ranger infield shading to the right, but not in an overshift. That one just missed down and away. It's 2-1.
The Ranger pitchers have given up 2 runs or less in 5 straight games. And their starters over the last 11 games have a 1.89 ERA. So pitching is what's been the key for the Rangers, trying to get their offense going. But in the meantime, the pitching has been very good.
Colby missing again. 3-1 now to Ortega. Angel left fielder hitting 7th in the order. Jet Bandy, the catcher, will follow. Giovatello being dogged out there at second by Elvis. And the pitch outside for ball 4. Colby refusing to give Ortega a pitch that he could pull. Now first and second with nobody out. Bandy coming up. And before Bandy steps in, let's say hello to Jim Knox.
Oh, I appreciate it, Buzz. Big crowd here for an afternoon game. We got the Pittsburgh 5th grade class out of Pittsburgh, Texas, and we also have the Crowley Retirement Center here. Louisa, you're the lively bunch out of the whole group here, having a good time so far.
Wonderful, wonderful. We come from St. Francis Village. This is our 51st year, and we have 2 priests with us today too who are retired.
Oh,
all right.
Good to travel with a couple of priests. All right, good to have you out here today.
All the luck.
All right, all the luck. We need that. Thank you, Luis. Y'all enjoy the game.
2 on, nobody out. Here's Bandy. And not showing any signs of a bunt, fouls the first pitch off. Down at the bottom of the order, Mike Socha, at least for the first pitch. And he's going to let Bandy go ahead and swing the bat. Bandy 0 for 4. His brief call up this year. Got called up on Friday, excuse me. Made his first career start on Saturday. He was up for a short time last September. Made his major league debut. He pounds one to left center field. That is deep and up the alley. Off the wall. Giovatello around third will score. Stopping at third is Rafael Ortega. And Jet Bandy, with his first major league hit, an RBI double, puts the Angels back on top 2-1.
We talked about Colby in his 9 starts. He really hasn't had anything resembling a bad start. He gave up 4 runs one time, but he's pitched at least 6 innings in every start. 7 in the last 5. Bandy went and hit a pitch on the corner, a slider. Not a terrible pitch, but he reached out and thought for a second it might have a chance to go into the Angel bullpen, but it hits off the wall. He picks up his first hit. The RBI to go along with it. 3 doubles in the first 8 hitters of the ball game.
Ground ball to the right side. That's going to score another run. Odor throws out Petit. In to score is Ortega. Bandy on to third. The Angels now have a 3-1 lead. And the top of the order, Yunel Escobar will be up.
Yeah, with a man on second and nobody out, frequently the hitter will try to get the runner over to third. It's just as important with men on second and third. If you do the same thing, you hit the grounder to second, you not only get the man at second over to third, what you're trying to do, you score the run. That's why Mike Scioscia gave Petit a little pat on the back when he came by. Good job. Got the RBI, moved the runner at the same time.
Now with 1 out, the Rangers pulled the infield all the way in. And Escobar, who doubled to left field his first time, takes strike 1. And a good look at Odor and Andrews up right at the cut of the grass. Beltre maybe a step behind the bag at third, as is Mitch Moreland at first. Low inside corner. 0-2. Escobar giving Ryan Blackney, the home plate umpire, the encouragement. Say, yeah, nice call. I don't think that's what he really said, but might have been.
Well, if you liked it so much, I can't wait to do it again for you then.
Appreciate the compliment.
Yep, all I need is the same pitch.
Escobar, after that double in the first, hitting at .313 now. Right center field. Desmond moving over. That's going to be deep enough to score the run. Bandy tagging at third. Down the line to score, and Escobar drives in his first run of the afternoon. That makes it a 4-1 Angels lead.
Well, that's why the ground ball to second is such a good play by the hitter Petit. He scored a run himself, moved the guy to third with 1 out, gave Escobar a chance to pick up another run. Good execution by the Angels, taking advantage of their opportunities.
No, base is empty now. Cole Calhoun for his second at bat. Calhoun ripped a single by Mitch Moreland in the first inning. Scored Escobar from second, so Calhoun with his 22nd RBI of the season on that blast. Colby taking a little bit off, making a curveball for strike 1. Calhoun 1 for 5 now, or 2 for 5 in this series. How about the difference home and road for him this year? 357 away from Anaheim. It's the 5th highest average in the American League on the road. 2-1. Colby having a tough time here in the early going, spotting up the fastball, and when he's gone to the breaking ball, he's thrown some good ones, but like the one to Bandy, if he hasn't thrown enough fastballs to kind of set it up, it's hard for him to get by with it. To center field, Ian Desmond backpedals a couple of steps, and that will do it. But the Angels score 3 times on a pair of hits, nobody left after 1.5. Now the Angels 4, the Rangers 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Great American Sales Event, and you can see why Ford is the best in Texas. The Rangers again have some catching up to do. They trail 4-1 as Nomar Mazzara starts off the bottom of the second. Mazzara, Rua, and Moreland to face Santiago. Nomar Mazzara, a 3-hit night last night, a pair of singles, a home run, a walk. He was doing everything for the Rangers last night and had a big setup of a double steal attempt where he stopped, got caught in the rundown, allowed Ian Desmond to score a very big run in the 8th inning.
You don't see that play put on a lot. You don't see it work a lot. But if you ever wanted to see it.
There goes number 8 off the bat of Mazzara. Look out in the upper tank. Goodbye.
Well, we keep talking about some of the spots where Mazzara has hit a baseball. Last night he hit one into the upper deck about 3 rows back. That one went above the exits in right field. A hanger that he just crushed right in his wheelhouse. And again, when you see where he's hit some of the balls that he's hit, and you envision him getting more comfortable with the pitchers that he'll face, more experience, a little bit stronger as he gets a little bit older. Not hard to imagine Nomar Mazzara hitting a lot of home runs in his career. That might have been his longest one right there.
If you were an Angel fan, consider figuring that the Rangers would die after getting behind again. Forget it. This ball club isn't going anywhere. Ryan Rua swinging a foul ball. Watch this thing take off.
Yeah, you couldn't dial up a better pitch for Mazzara to hit for distance than this one. It's off speed, which allows him to get the head of the bat in the zone where you want it to launch a long home run. That's one. The second you feel contact, you know it's gone. And then it's just a matter of how long you want to sit there and watch it. It's a lot bigger, and the swings aren't exactly the same, but the effortless, smooth swing looks a lot like Rafael Palmeiro when you see him hit a ball like that.
Yep. No, a 4-2 Angel lead. Ryan Rua up there, a ball and 2 strikes. Rua comes into the game hitting a .259, a couple of home runs, 6 driven in. 4 for 10 in his career against Hector Santiago. Rua has been tearing apart left-handed pitching in general this year. He's 12 for 31. That's a .387 mark. 2 balls and 2 strikes. We'll take a look at the Ford leaderboard for you. Home run leaders on the Rangers. Now Nomar Mazzara at the top. He is 1 ahead of Adrian Beltre and Rougned Odor. Ian Desmond climbing that ladder pretty quickly. He's 2 behind Mazzara. Up the middle, Petit flags it down, has no play. And Rua is aboard with a base hit. Petit shading him over into the hole, and once that ball got onto the skin part of the infield, Petit had no chance to even catch it and come up and throw. He was all stretched out.
Well, Ryan's a solidly built guy, and he can run too. See his speed when he's playing the outfield, but also a really good base runner.
Yeah.
He had one of those. I guess he's the one that had the base hit to right field. Was it Elvis on first base in Houston that had the huge lead, and Ryan dribbled one into right field? I've seen Ryan get a jump a couple of times too.
Well, Mitch Moreland could use a little luck on his side, which has been struggling lately. He's 0 for his last 18 times to the plate. Little calling card to get Rua back to the bag.
Ryan's 3 for 3 this year, stealing bases. Yeah, Mitch is due to dink about 4 or 5 little bloopers into left field. It's like every Well, it has been with the offer he's got going. Every ball he's hit hard, has been right at somebody on the right side of the infield usually.
There have been, I think, 4 in the first 2 games of this series that he hit pretty well, and didn't have anything to show for it.
Last 2 times up in the 2-0 loss, he definitely hit a couple of balls like that.
Well, Mitch at 225 overall, 4 home runs, 16 driven in. Overshift for the Angels. The Angels shifting as much, if not more, than most every other team. A little unusual considering how old school people think Mike Socia is, but Socia employing the shift with regularity now. Always flashing out signs to his catchers. 3-0 to Moreland. Now 3-1 as that ball just nudged the top of the strike zone. Mitch's average, the lowest it's been going back to the end of April, a month. Matter of fact, 222 was the low water mark. The 3-1 and ball 4 puts him aboard. So 2 on, nobody out. Elvis coming up.
Well, Santiago has pitched well against the Rangers. He pitched very well in this ballpark. He's 5-1 in this ballpark. He's struggling right now. Struggling to make his pitches, and when he does, the Rangers have had some pretty good swings. I want to take advantage of him in this situation. A couple of men on and nobody out after you've already scored 1.
Well, here's Elvis, a 291 average as he steps to the plate. We were talking about Elvis in our pregame comments. A 10-game hitting streak. Not a lot of success, as you can see, against Santiago in past matchups. The way Elvis is swinging the bat, I'm not sure the past has much to do with what happens in this at-bat. There's that good changeup. 0-1.
Yeah, Elvis has been a 340 hitter against left-handed pitching. He was up there geared to hit the fastball in that first pitch, and it's almost like Santiago was guessing right along with him.
Elvis still in the top 7 hitting with runners in scoring position in the American League. But he, like the rest of the guys in the ball club, fallen into a little bit of a hole. 1 for his last 10. Showing bunt. The pitch inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Elvis was mentioned, our pregame subject. Look at the difference this year to last year. Batting average, some 33 points higher. Runners in scoring position, 130 points higher. Just all around a much more productive year. That changeup floats over the outside corner. It's now 1-2.
Now, Elvis saw that changeup. He wasn't fooled by the pitch. He just didn't think it was a strike. That's one. If Santiago had thrown that for a strike, Elvis looked like he was poised to line it into right field. He just didn't pull the trigger on it because he didn't think it was a strike.
A 10-game hitting streak for Elvis, a 313 average. Rua at second, Moreland at first. Nobody out here in the bottom of the second. A little bit low, 2-2. A lot of changeups from Santiago. Hector Santiago came up with the White Sox, and they felt he was a promising left-hander, but he kind of got passed up. A guy by the name of Chris Sale and Jose Quintana. Ground ball, left field, a base hit. Rua being waved around third will come in to score. Elvis Andrus an RBI single. Back come the Rangers, 4-3 Angels.
Well, Elvis saw a lot of changeups in that at bat. He was really fooled by the first one, looking for a fastball, but the rest of the at bat, he wasn't fooled by the changeup. He took a couple of them, 1 for a ball, 1 for a strike, and then he hit that one just past Escobar into left field to pick up a run. Elvis continues to hit very well with men in scoring position and also hit left-handed pitching.
Well, the Rangers, 4 consecutive hitters reaching base here, 3 hits and a walk. The Angel lead is down to 1. Here's Bobby Wilson, and he is going to bunt. Takes ball 1. C.J. Cron, the first baseman, was about 20 feet from home plate when that ball passed the plate.
Yeah, and on a bunt with men on first and second, you just take the first baseman out of the play by bunting it to the third baseman, who can only throw to first. Plus they put the wheel play on, but you can see that coming.
This bunt down the third baseline, a good one. Escobar, the Giovatello covering first. Sacrifice goes 5-4. And Tom, you said it before, that is textbook bunting.
Yeah, there's no one,
Bobby Wilson.
No one on the team can bunt like Bobby. But everyone that's thinking about bunting ought to watch him bunt. He knows he has to bunt this to third base. He squares around and lays the bunt down exactly like you want it. Make the third baseman feel it. Watch the technique. Just kind of lets the bat hit the ball. So many times you see the bunter jab at the ball, make the bat go forward quickly toward the ball. He just waited for the ball to meet the bat, and the result was an excellent sacrifice bunt.
And second and third with 1 out for Rougned Odor. Odor reached on a bunt single in the first inning, came around to score the first Ranger run. Chance here to tie or put the Rangers ahead with a base hit. 2 balls, no strikes.
Yeah, key for Rougned is make him throw you a strike. Rougned has been struggling a little bit. He wants to drive these runs so badly he can taste it. And what he's got to do is avoid expanding the zone. The hottest hitter for the Rangers is Ian Desmond, and if he won't throw you a strike right here, just keep on taking and let Ian get the job done.
Only 20% of the time has Rougned gotten that guy home from third. Off the end of the bat, headed toward the seats in foul territory, and it's out of play.
Yeah, and I would say, Buzz, in the majority of those times where he hasn't gotten the run in, he's probably swung early in the count at a pitch that wasn't an ideal pitch to hit.
Yep.
And almost done the pitcher a favor. It's a matter of learning the strike zone and being patient enough to wait for your pitch to hit and not being over anxious.
And that's the kind of thing too that opposing teams will go over in scouting reports.
Yeah. That's why he's seeing those.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why he's seeing those pitches.
Yeah, that's not by accident. Pitch is foul back, a good fastball that time from Santiago, and the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pretty good. Let's get a little stick him on that bat. Odor with a single in the first, now hitting at 266. 22 runs driven in. Got Moreland down at third, Andrus at second. 1 out here in the Rangers second. That'll get the run home. Ground ball to Giovatello. In to score is Moreland. Odor with the RBI, and we will start anew. It is 4-4.
The Angels had an RBI on a ground ball out. Rangers answered the 1 run that the Angels scored in the first. They've answered the 3 that they scored in the second. And that's, with the infield back in that situation, one thing you can't do is pop it up or swing and miss. You have to hit the ball to the outfield or hit it on the ground up the middle. And it wasn't necessarily a hard hit ball, but it got the job done.
On the play, Elvis went down to third. Ian Desmond had an RBI on a ground out his first time. Well, he waited on that off-speed pitch pretty nicely, but fouled it straight back.
Santiago only pitched 2 1/3, 2 2/3 in his last start. Got kicked out of the game, arguing balls and strikes. The Eagles have the bullpen going right now.
And Desmond off the end of the bat shoots it foul. No balls and 2 strikes. Mike Morin. Mike Socha prefers to wait until later in the ball game to use, but it's kind of critical. The Angels, by the way, sent Lucas Licky, or designated Lucas Licky, the left-handed reliever, for assignment. They brought up Caleb Coward, an infielder. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So they're back down to a 7-man bullpen. Maybe the roles a little bit changed up down there for today. Santiago reading the signs. Left-hander now into the wind, and time called as Ian Desmond. That's long enough. Ian with the RBI ground out now, 27 runs driven in. He's second on the team to Adrian Beltre, who has 29. 1-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Bandy on to first to complete the out, and that'll do it. But the Rangers come back to tie the ball game. They get 3 runs on 3 hits and leave 1 after 2. Rangers 4, Angels 4 on Fox Sports Southwest. Ball game now as the Angels come to bat here in the top of the 3rd inning. It has been back and forth, and Colby Lewis will try to calm things down. Mike Trout starting things off. And Colby gets that slider down and away for strike 1. Trout a fly ball to center in the 1st inning. In tight, fastball almost clipped it. 1-1 the count. Colby with 47 pitches under his belt as he works with nobody out here in the 3rd. 1-2. Colby trying to get that command to sharpen up for him, and sometimes it'll kick in. Matter of fact, most of the time it'll kick in. Colby knows the adjustments that he needs to make to get that fastball back where he wants it. Also the breaking ball. Line to left. Rua, though, has a bead drawn on it. That is out number 1. And let's check in with Emily Jones.
Well, guys, always my pleasure to tell you about how Rangers are getting involved in the community. And May is Neurofibromatosis Awareness Month, also known as NF Awareness Month. And for each run that Ian Desmond scores in the month of May, he and his family will donate $1,000 to the Children's Tumor Foundation. It's a cause very near and dear to Ian's heart, and you can tell it just by talking to him for a minute.
Tumor Foundation is, it's crucial to, finding a cure for NF. Right now, it's something that it's a disease that affects, millions of people. 1 in 3,000 people are affected by NF, and everyone hears about cancer, and rightfully so. But at the same time, NF is nasty, and it affects a lot of people's lives, and nobody really knows about it. So I'm trying to, just spread the word alongside of everybody else that is kind of going through it.
So Ian raising funds and awareness. He also wears a bracelet inspired by one of the kiddos who suffers from NF, and a great job by Ian and all that he's doing, guys.
All right, Ed, thank you. Very good stuff. And I guess we don't hear enough about how many of the Rangers are involved with different causes. Certainly one very close to Ian Desmond, and he is out in the community supporting that every chance he gets. Well, 1 out, Albert Pujols has a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pujols called out on strikes, much to his dismay, first time up. Colby Lewis able to get Mike Trout on a line drive to left to start the inning, and that broke a string of 2 straight innings that the Angels had started with a double. Maybe things turning around for Colby. With Pujols up there, the Rangers in an overshift to the left side. Fly ball to center. And Ian Desmond trotting in. 2 gone. Before C.J. Cron comes up, let's send it over to Aaron Hardigan for a Chevy game break. All right, Aaron, thank you.
2 runs off Arrieta in 4 innings is like a year-long production.
Cron pops up the first pitch to right, and Nomar Mazzara is there, and that'll do it. So Colby Lewis, after having struggles in the first 2 innings, has a 1-2-3 third. After 2.5, it remains the Rangers 4 and the Angels 4 at Globe Life Park. Come on out to the ballpark this Friday. You can enjoy a post-game fireworks show that follows the Rangers-Pirates game. Fans using the online coupon code FIREWORKS can get an upper reserve ticket for $14. Just visit TexasRangers.com/specials and you can get your tickets today. Prince Fielder starting off the Ranger third, a 4-4 ball game. Runs are even, hits are even at 4. Prince Fielder went down swinging the first time that he faced Hector Santiago. Three balls and no strikes. So Fielder trying to get aboard to start the Ranger third. Adrian Beltre is in the on-deck circle. Santiago, his pitch count up to 47 now. 27 strikes, 20 balls. Hit hard and pulled just foul outside the bag. Hernandez right down there, right on top of the line, making the call. And that fills the count. Good look from our wedgie cam. Camera down there in that right field area that we call the wedgie. Now Prince back to the plate. The 3-2 pitch. We will reset and try it again.
The Rangers have not only scored 4 runs, but they've also made Santiago throw a ton of pitches. This will be his 50th pitch coming up. Still doesn't have an out in the 3rd inning. The guy with a 2.53 ERA in this ballpark, but struggling in this game so far.
And he misses high. Yep, that struggle continues. 3rd straight inning that the Rangers have had their leadoff man aboard. Santiago with the 2nd walk in as many innings. And now he will face Adrian Beltre. Adrian grounded to short back in the 1st inning. Talked about the first time up, the numbers that Adrian Beltre has put up against the Angels, and they're the best that he has had against any opponent in most of his offensive categories. But look at the home runs and RBI against the Angels. It's starting to get a historical proportions for Beltre. 36 home runs and 139 RBI while hitting .270. Those numbers stand out pretty well. The home runs 6th on the all-time list against the Angels. Cal Ripken next at 38. Nothing in 2 with that swing. The RBI ranked 5th. Rafael Palmeiro is next on that list. Rafi had 153 against the Angels. 0-2 here as Santiago checks first. Beltre gives it a ride to left field. Going back is Ortega at the wall. It's off the top of the wall and bounces away. Trout backs him up, so fielder has to stop at 3rd. Beltre, a one-handed double 390 feet from home plate before it came down. Or maybe 1.5.
That's another one. It looked like it was going to be a home run. It had that sound for sure. And it almost was a home run, but it stayed in the ballpark. Pitch that caught pretty much the middle of the plate. Adrian reaches for it. Wonders whether he got enough. And almost did. If he hit it about 5 feet to the right, he would have. It was over that part of the fence, but off the high part of the fence.
Yeah, the distance was fine. Location was a little bit off.
Yeah, he just pulled it a little bit too much. We'll see what the Rangers can do. Last inning, they took advantage of some opportunities. 2nd and 3rd, and nobody out right here. See what they can bring in.
Now that for Adrian Beltre, his 571st career double. Puts him just 1 double back of Pudge Rodriguez on the all-time list. Pudge is 26th all-time. The Rangers at it again against Santiago. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out, and here is Nomar Mazzara. Pudge taking the game in from down in the seat just to the home plate side of the Ranger dugout. Mazzara 4 for 4 in his last 4 times to the plate with 2 home runs. Out of play to the left. 0-2. Mazzara now a 4-game hitting streak. He has had 3 home runs in those 4 games. Santiago working from the windup. Still 0-2. We'll take you back to the 2nd inning. Nomar Mazzara up there. Our AT&T high-speed internet replay. And it has to be high-speed to check that thing out. It had a vapor trail coming off of it as it went to the upper home run porch. Up the middle and checking fielder back to 3rd. Santiago throws out Mazzara. That's out number 1, and Ryan Rua will be next. Well, Santiago able to get Mazzara just out in front a little bit on that front foot, and that's going to do it. Well, Mike Sochet not wasting any time. Santiago below 60 pitches, but he's going to make the call for Mike Morin. Feels the ball game could be on the line here in the early going at 2 on and 1 out. Rua coming up, and we have a pitching change at Globe Life Park. Hector Santiago finished for the afternoon. We'll tell you all about Mike Morin when we come back right after this. Santiago, the Angels starter from the game. And now they will face 25-year-old right-hander Mike Morin. Morin appearing in his 23rd ball game of the year. ERA of 4.5. League, though, just hitting .209 against the changeup specialist. He has a very good fastball, but an excellent changeup. And he will throw that at any count to any hitter. 14 strikeouts, 5 walks for Morin. Morin out of University of North Carolina. Well, Ryan Rua, the hitter. Rua had an infield single his first time up. Rangers with Fielder at third, Beltre at second. And the fastball right down the middle for strike one.
Buzz, I saw the StatCast projection for Mazzara's home run. Longest home run of the year in the major leagues. 491 feet.
Wow.
They estimated that ball would have gone. Get in there.
There's a base hit to center. Fielder scores. Beltre right behind him will score. Ryan Rua greets Mike Morin with a 2-run single. The Rangers lead it 6-4.
Attaboy, Ryan. Make some solid contact. Hit the ball back through the middle. If you don't find a hole, at least you score 1 run. You do find a hole, and you score both. Big hit and in scoring position. Yeah, I guess you look at the trajectory of the ball, the exit speed, and how hard it was going when it went into the stands. And the estimate was it would have gone 491 feet. So that takes hitting him a long ways to a new level for him.
It certainly does. I've forgotten what the revised longest home run here at Globe Life Park is. I think Josh Hamilton was credited with it. It was around that.
Yeah, I think that's a ball.
Yep.
I think for a while Paul Sorrento had the one to center field that was might have been 491.
Yeah, that's what it was measured.
But they took some feet off of that one, I think.
Yeah, the one that Josh Hamilton hit was above the Ranger bullpen in the last exit row. Or last exit in the upper deck up there.
Barry Bonds hit one out there too, the first year of interleague play. But I've seen some hit, you know, in similar spots up there. Not a lot of them, but none of them were estimated at 491. Right. But I guess what you have to say about StatCast.
That is down the line. It is a fair ball, and it hits Hernandez right in the back. Caroms away. In to score Rua. Marlin belly flopping into second with an RBI double. 7-4 Rangers.
Well, if anyone was due for a ball to hit a base, hit an umpire, whatever it hit, it was Mitch. So he's got a walk and scored in the second, and now he's got a double. That scores Ryan Rua here in the third.
That ball was scalded right down the line. Look out, Angel. Oh. It looked like he hit the bag. Came up a little more than Angel Hernandez thought it was going to. So the Rangers putting it together. Angel trying to explain it to Hector Ortiz. You know what? That ball hurts. Marlin with his 17th run driven in this year. And Elvis Andrus, who had an RBI, driving in his 17th in the second inning. Takes strike one, or ball one.
I haven't seen a game like this in a long time. Rangers have had big innings and scored a lot of runs, but they haven't given up many runs. It's only 4, but in the last 5 days, they haven't given up any more than 2 coming into this ball game.
The oldest Guerra, right-hander, loosening now in that Angel bullpen. He is the official long man, if you were to designate him. Changeup floats to the outside corner. A ball and a strike to count. So Morin greeted by a Ryan Rua ground ball for 2 runs and a Mitch Moreland bullet for another run. 2-1 to Elvis. Elvis now has increased his season best hitting streak to 11 consecutive ball games, longest by any Ranger this year. Moreland getting his lead from second. And that pitch Makes it 3-1. The scoreboard says 3-1. We have it at 2-2, but we'll find out in this next pitch. Three and two. That changeup, such a drastic difference from. It's almost a cartoon changeup.
Yeah, it
Stops
looks like
halfway
it
up there.
stops.
Elvis hitting eighth. He'll be followed by the Ranger catcher Bobby Wilson. Now the 3-2. Pulled to Petit at short. Two gone with Moreland staying at second base.
The catcher, Bobby Wilson.
Well, Bobby Wilson will step up. And before we tell you about Bobby Wilson, let's check in with Jim Knox.
I appreciate it, Buzz. Here we are, upper home run porch, 491 feet according to StatCats. That's the longest home run hit at Globe Life Park according to StatCats. And Nick and Julian celebrating their 9th anniversary. What were you thinking when Nomar hit that ball out here in Upper Deck?
I just saw the ball hit. It looked like it was still rising for a while. I thought it was going to drop in front of us, and then all of a sudden it hits about 2 rows behind us. I just stick my hand up and catch it on the ricochet.
Nice. Okay, very well. And it actually hit off this guy's hand. He still has a mark of a baseball on his hand. It was hit that hard, Tom and Buzz. But congratulations, happy anniversary. What a way to spend the anniversary, getting a Nomar Mazzara, big home run ball.
And we were just talking about how he had hit the home run last night to the upper deck right in front of us. And I was thinking it'd be cool if he hit another one. All of a sudden he hits another home run. So kind of crazy.
Way to go. 491 feet right here, according to StatCast. Buzz?
All right, Knoxy, thank you. Apparently all you had to do is ask and he would have done it for you. The way it's going, Nomar
That's what
Mazzara.
it looks like.
Yep. 8th home run of the year. The longest home run measured by StatCast this year in the major leagues. A ball and a strike. The count to Bobby Wilson. Now 1-2. Bobby had that sacrifice bunt his first time up. That was last inning. Played a big part in the Rangers' 3-run second. And the Rangers have come back to put 3 more on the board here in the third. And there's still just 2 outs. Line drive, base hit left field. Moreland being waved around third. Here comes the throw from Ortega. It's a good one. Moreland is out at the plate.
Well, Ortega has an excellent arm. He's thrown out a lot of guys in his brief time. And that was an excellent throw, and it needed to be.
And Jeff Anderson saying, hang on here a second. We're going to take a look at that. Mitch Moreland trying to score. And what a throw by Ortega. Well, that's going to stand up. But the Rangers lead it 7-4 after 3. Clouds break up a bit here with 7 runs in the first 3 innings against the Halos. They lead it 7-4. And Colby Lewis back out to the hill. Colby had his first 1-2-3 inning in the 3rd. Rangers now have given him the lead with which to work. Johnny Giavitello, who started off the 2nd with a double to left. Hits it hard, but get to the wrong guy if you want to get a base hit. Adrian Beltre on to first, out number 1. Well, folks, this Saturday, you want to circle on your calendar, come on out to the ballpark. The first 15,000 fans 14 and older who get into Globe Life Park get a Rangers beach towel courtesy of Powerade. Come on out to the game against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pick up this summer giveaway. Just call 972-RANGERS or visit TexasRangers.com. Now, Colby now with that ground out to start the 4th has retired the last 7 that he's faced. And fires a strike to Rafael Ortega. The time you're talking about Ortega having a lot of assists lately. It was his 4th assist at the big league level this year when he threw out Mitch Moreland to end the bottom of the 3rd. Last year, playing for the Cardinals at AAA Memphis, he had 15 assists in the outfield. So that arm is not, it's not an accident.
No, and the one thing, look at that ball carry.
He and Desmond on the edge of the warning track.
Wow.
For out number 2.
Yeah, the one thing you can tell with his throw is not only does he have arm strength, but he's got technique and accuracy and the kind of true hop that shows that he had all 4 seams on that ball when he threw it. That was a beautiful throw. And that ball was hit pretty hard, but when he fielded it, he was fairly deep out in left field. That was not an easy throw to make. But it was perfect.
Well, 2 outs, bases empty. Jet Bandy, who got his first major league hit. Check swing, foul ball, strike 1.
Take a look at it. Well, he's fairly deep out there when he fields it, but watch, very efficient with the steps that he took. Line drive throw. 1 hop. Catcher makes a nice swipe tag. And when Mitch slides, his front foot that's closest to the plate is actually about a foot over the base right there. And I think the tag came right about at the same time. Not sure.
Yeah, Bannister out inquiring about that last pitch. It was called a ball. It hit something.
It hit something.
Yeah, foul ball off the end of the bat.
There's no way that ball could have gone over toward the Ranger dugout if it didn't hit something. It's either a foul ball or a hit by pitch.
Well, the umpires can review it, but that's not a challengeable play. You can challenge whether the batter was hit by a pitch or not. You can't challenge whether he fouled it away or not.
Yeah, you would think that that's the kind of ball that you would hear hit the bat.
Yeah.
Unless he thought the catcher clanked it, but that would be the clank of all time right there.
Mike Scioscia going out there to get a further explanation from the crew chief, Ted Barrett, who was down at 3rd. And Blackie, the home plate umpire, initially called it a ball, and we'll see if that call was reversed or not after the umpire review. See if you can tell.
Couldn't tell whether that was a sound of ball hitting a glove or a bat.
Well,
but it was a sound.
Yeah, it is strike 1.
Yeah.
So,
and Mike didn't argue. He could tell from the dugout what happened.
And a fly ball to center field. Ian Desmond trotting in, and that'll be another 1-2-3 inning. Colby Lewis now has retired 9 straight, so he's settling in. Ranger offense will get back to work. They lead it 7-4 after 3½. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. Well, the Rangers in the driver's seat here this afternoon. They got behind early and they rallied back to take a 7-4 lead. Rangers coming to bat here in the bottom of the fourth inning, now facing the third pitcher used by Mike Scioscia here this afternoon, Dalius Guerra, a Rule 5 draft pick from the Pittsburgh Pirates by the Angels this past offseason. Guerra worked Sunday against the Orioles, had a couple of strikeouts, one inning of work. He is a 27-year-old out of Venezuela. 6'5", 245 pounds is Guerra. Facing one of his countrymen, and Rougned Odor fouls that first pitch back for strike one. Rougned had a base hit and a run scored along with a stolen base in the first inning and a bunt single. Then drove in his 23rd run of the year with a ground out in the second. Two hopper down to Crone at first. Odor retired, one away for Ian Desmond.
Center fielder Ian Desmond.
Dalius Guerra worked mainly at AAA last year, had 10 ball games with the Pirates. Went 2-0 in those games, 16 innings of work. At AAA Indianapolis, he had 25 ball games under his belt. He was a part-time closer there with 4 saves. Ian Desmond 0 for 2, but does have an RBI on a ground out. Desmond with the average at 284 as he faces Guerra. Rangers 7 runs on 8 hits this afternoon. Angels 4 runs on 4 hits. 2-0. Like the offense for the Rangers and the Angels gave Colby Lewis a chance to settle in, and Colby has done that. He has retired the last 9 that he has faced now, and the lead in pretty good hands for the time being. Hit well to right field. Calhoun retreating. That's out number 2, and again Desmond stinging the baseball.
Designated hitter, Prince Fielder.
Calhoun's a very good outfielder. Had a good jump, made an easy catch. Calhoun will definitely lay out and dive for a ball. Very aggressive outfielder.
And won his first Gold Glove last year.
Yep, good all-around player.
Well, 2 outs. Here's Prince Fielder. Fielder got the 3rd inning started by garnering a walk from Hector Santiago. 0-1. Santiago, by the way, in 2 1/3 innings today, gave up all 6 runs, or gave up 6 runs. They were all earned on 5 hits and 2 walks. Mike Morin came in, gave up another run on 3 hits in his 2/3 of an inning. The 0-1 pitch. Nothing, and 2 to Prince. How about Martin Perez? Last night got his first win of the month, 6 shutout innings, and in case you missed it, that 6th inning, his last inning was about as high a leverage an inning as you can imagine. 1st and 3rd, nobody out, and then bases loaded and 1 out. He gets out of it with no damage.
Yeah, I think when you look at the way he pitched in that inning, the way his velocity rose as he pitched out of that jam, that's about as nicely a pitched inning to get out of a jam as you could possibly see. That had to be a huge confidence builder for him when you consider the hitters that he had to face in that inning as well.
1-2 to Fielder. Got him swinging. Oh, 1-2-3 inning for Guerra. Rangers gone for the first time in order this afternoon. We'll go to the 5th at Globe Life Park. It's the Rangers 7 and the Angels 4.
leading the Angels as we head to the top of the 5th. Are we in the 6th? I lost track because I've got good food in front of me. Top of the 5th inning here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. It's time to make television magic as I tell you about one of the great food items on tap here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. This is Pudge's Panini, and it looks heavenly. And it's actually one sandwich stacked, you know, on top of each other. Let me give you a description before I start eating. It is a hot pressed panini stuffed with smoked turkey breast, turkey patty, fresh spinach, provolone cheese, and sriracha aioli. Pudge has confirmed that he has sampled this. He does approve. He apparently is a big fan of pirates, so there's a pirate flag and an American flag because, of course, he loves the USA, and he likes turkey. And so here now is Pudge's Panini.
That looks very playable.
Tom, I could confirm you would be a huge fan.
That looks good.
Very good. The aioli sauce, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but it's very good. It's the orange stuff in there. And I'm a big fan of spinach. I feel like anytime you can eat spinach, it makes anything healthy. So, healthy Pudge's Panini. 2 thumbs up from me, guys.
Now, where can we find that, Em?
You know what? It doesn't say in my script. That's unfortunate. I'm going to say lots of places around the ballpark.
Fritz Dykert said Captain Morgan.
Thank you, Fritz Dykert, the Captain Morgan Club. And it probably is in my script. I can tell you it's $16.
That looks like a bargain.
$16. Yeah. I guarantee it'll get you.
Now, is that for 1 or 2?
I think I've seen the way you eat, Tom. I think you and I could split this.
Okay, good.
And then I would go back for a giant bowl of ice cream.
Ice cream makes everything better, even as good as that looks.
As long as you don't go back for the Chumunga after that, then that'd be all right.
You know, the Angels top of the order one more time. You know, Escobar, who is 1 for 1 officially, a double, a run scored, drove in a run with a sac fly back in the 2nd. Colby Lewis now to retire the last 10 that he has faced. Escobar now with 12 runs driven in. Colby just missing the outside corner. 2-1. Escobar a .313 average. Two balls, 2 strikes. Remember, we were talking back in the 2nd inning, Colby Lewis pitch count getting up there just a bit. It was up in the 45 range, 47 range. Now he's at 71. He's got 1 out here in the 5th, so it has turned around very nicely for the veteran right-hander. And a base hit to center for Escobar, who's swinging a hot bat.
Will Little's got to make the play on that ball.
You know, speaking about Colby Lewis, how about our Kubota power stats for this afternoon? One of only 4 pitchers this season to have 7 innings or more in 5 or more consecutive starts. And Clayton Kershaw, no surprise there. Johnny Cueto and Chris Sale, the other 3. Colby has worked at least 6 innings in all of his starts. Coming up to today. Cole Calhoun, 1 out of 2, takes ball 1. I wonder if he gets union scale for that. Looks like he's a new camera operator. Oh.
It's Eric.
Yeah. Magic of angles on TV. 2-0 the count to Calhoun. RBI single back in the 1st for Calhoun, produced his 22nd RBI. Last time up, skied to center field. The 2-0 pitch. Colby taking just a little bit off the fastball, spotting it down and away for the strike. If you happen to hear the interview that Emily Jones did with Colby Lewis, he was talking about that. He what's the secret to his pitching success? Well, you stay out of the middle of the plate and add a little bit, take a little bit off.
That sounds easy.
Yeah. 3-1. And for Colby it is. I mean, that's what he's learned over the years, and he applies it very well. And just the fact that he knows when to take a little off and put a little on is what experience is all about. Now, he's got some work to do here, though. Got Calhoun hitting second with a man on first and 1 out. Good fastball to the outside corner. 3-2. Calhoun to be followed by Mike Trout. Rangers with Calhoun up there in an overshift. Adrian Beltre, the only Ranger on the left side of the diamond. Escobar, the lead from first. He's on the move. The pitch is looped into left center field. That's a base hit. Escobar not hesitating. We'll move on over to third, and the Angels now have runners at the corners and 1 out, and Trout coming to the plate represents the tying run. The second hit of the afternoon for Calhoun.
Yeah, he just reached and hit it off the end of the bat. It looked like just a little blooper. With a runner running, he easily goes to third. The ball tailing away. Didn't go that high, Cole. Where'd it go?
Just run, just in case.
He's looking. He knows it's in play because
Yeah.
he can see the fielders moving around. That's one you don't see very often. I can honestly say I didn't get that many hits, but I knew where every one of them went. I never had any doubt about it.
The runners at first and third, still just 1 out. Mike Trout has fly to center, line to left. Nothing and 1. Trout tied with Albert Pujols for the team lead with 31 runs driven in. Dangerous guy in a run producing situation such as this. 91 career games now against the Rangers. Trout has hit .331. A ball and a strike. Cut it down to the last 28 games. Trout has been a .367 hitter with 16 RBI in those 28. Tony Barnett loosening in the Ranger bullpen as Colby hits that corner down and away. Trout didn't think so, but it's a ball and 2 strikes. Trout 78% of the time this year has been able to get that runner home from third base. As you know, Escobar down there. Cole Calhoun across the diamond at first. 2-2. Trout with a 7-game hitting streak on the line here today. Colby back to him. Reached for and skied to right center field. Hit well enough. That's going to allow Escobar to tag and score. Mazzara's throw comes into second. Escobar scores. Mike Trout with a sacrifice fly, and that cuts into the Ranger lead. It's now 7-5 Rangers.
Yeah, you hate to give up a run, but at the same time, first and third, 1 out. Trout coming up. I think you'll give up that out and get the sacrifice fly. Trout didn't hit that ball very well, but it still went almost to the warning track out in right field.
Well, that's the second out here. Now Pujols. And again, with a 2-run game now, Pujols represents the tying run. Albert has been called out on strikes and flied to center field. Again, the Rangers in that defensive shift on the infield. As Colby gets a slider in for strike 1. Rougned Odor playing about 4 or 5 steps on the shortstop side of second. Elvis back at the rim of the outfield grass, midway between second and third. And a pop-up. Odor Going over to his normal spot on the right side of the infield. Makes the grab, and that will do it. So a good job by Colby Lewis. First and third with one out. He gives up the sac fly, and that's it. We played half the ball game. It's the Rangers 7, the Angels 5 on Fox Sports Southwest.
On the Fox Sports Fan Express rolled in for the great town of Tyler, Longview. Of course, all of East Texas on hand, courtesy of KTPB Radio. Right. And Bill, how was that ride over here?
Eddie Horn's the best bus driver in the South, and the Rangers are winning right now. That's good.
Beat that. And look at this, Tom. Joe brought a surprise here. You went to this game?
Oh, yeah, 1965 Washington Senators. I've been a fan of the franchise since '62. That's 54 years. I also was, Frank Howard was my hero. They got him that year. And go Rangers.
Yeah, they really outdid things with color back in those days. And then look, 15 cents for that program. You spent a big time.
Beers for 15 cents too.
There we go. All right. Appreciate it, guys. Good to have you out here. Thank you. There we go.
All right, Noxie, thank you.
Bill Coach used to be at WBAP. I remember, right? He did some TCU sports as well.
Adrian Beltre starting off the Ranger 5th inning, a 7-5 Ranger advantage. Guerra missing down and away, 2 balls and a strike. Adrian came within a couple of feet of hitting his 8th home run of the year last time up. Doubled high off the wall in deepest left center field. Came around to score on Ryan Rua's base hit. That was in the 3-run 3rd inning. He rips this one, but foul down the left side. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rangers 7 runs on 8 hits this afternoon. The Angels 5 runs on 6 hits. Crowd seeing a lot of offense in the ballpark today. Petit charging the shortstop. Fires on to Crone. That is out number 1. Now Nomar Mazzara. The Angels finally got Mazzara out last time up. He had a comebacker to the mound, and it's the only time in the last 2 games that the Angels have found a way to prevent Mazzara from doing any damage. Now a .320 average. His 8th home run came leading off the 2nd inning here today. And he was a bomb, in case you missed it. Little tapper that Guerra handles. Wide throw, and tried to pull Crone off the bag, but he kept his toenail on there. 2 gone. Well, with Ryan Rua come up, we will send it over to Aaron Hardigan for a Chevy game break. All right, Aaron, thank you. Ryan Rua, 2 for 2 today. Pair of singles. He has scored twice. He has driven in 2. He's been right in the middle of the Ranger 2 3-run innings.
Well, he's throwing a lot of changeups. It must be a pretty good one. Combine that with the fact they haven't seen him before.
As we mentioned, Garrett, the Rule 5 draft pick from the Pittsburgh Pirates by the Angels, so he has to stay in the big leagues all year or be offered back to the Pirates. Slowly chopped to third.
One right after the other.
Yep. Escobar across the diamond. That's 6 straight now, sent down by Neolis Guerra. Rangers gone to the 5th. We have finished 5 at Globe Life Park. Rangers leading 7-5. #1 live streaming sports service delivers everything you've come to expect and a lot more. You can watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Just visit MLB.tv for details. Well, Colby Lewis back to the mound and begins the 6th inning by firing a strike to C.J. Cron. It'll be Cron, Giovatelli, and Ortega. Little pop-up, shallow right field, going out. Odor, he can't get there. And Cron dumps a single in to start off the Angels' 6th inning.
Kind of like the ball that Calhoun dumped in the 5th inning. Slider away, right off the end of the bat. Not hit hard enough to get to the right fielder. Bounced and came back towards second base.
That's the 7th hit for the Angels this afternoon. Throwing aboard. And Johnny Giovatelli, who has one of those 7 hits, will step in. Giovatelli led off the 2nd with a double to left field and scored a run. Giovatelli now a .273 average. 14 RBI, and Giovatelli showing you that he's got doubles power. He can drive the ball in the alley, pull the ball down the lines with pretty good authority. Rangers looking for that double play grounder. Instead, they get a line drive to left for a base hit. Stopping at second is Cron, and boy, the Angels keep coming back, and they have the tying run now coming to the plate with nobody out here in the 6th inning, and it will probably not be against Colby Lewis, as Jeff Bannister is making the slow walk out to the mound. So Colby straightened things around, retired 10 straight at one point, and now the toll that those early inning struggles took on Colby kind of coming to the forefront. So that's going to do it for Colby Lewis. The call to the bullpen has been made by Jeff Bannister. Alex Claudio, the left-hander, will be asked to come in with runners at first and second and nobody out here in the 6th. We're back right after this. And you love them, the red, the green, and the blue dots from the Texas Rangers original dot race. This season you can collect all 3 dots in a limited edition bobblehead series as presented by Nitto Tires. The blue dot is the first in the series. It'll be given away to the first 15,000 fans this Sunday. Rangers take on the Pirates in interleague play. Log on to TexasRangers.com and get your tickets today. Well, Alex Claudio, submarining left-hander, on now, and he inherits runners at first and second, nobody out. Rafael Ortega, the left-handed hitting outfielder for the Angels up there, and the Rangers maybe expecting a bunt from Ortega in this situation. No bunt shown, and the pitch is wide for ball 1. Claudio last worked a week ago, Wednesday in Oakland. That was after a 7-day interim between that and his previous outing. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ortega today has walked and scored. Flied to center field, 0 for 1. Ortega has not faced Claudio in the regular season. Here's that changeup that floats in. 1 and 2. Ortega kind of reacting like, what in the world was that? Good question. We're still trying to figure that out too.
Sure took a long time to get here.
Pulled well foul down the right side. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Well, the Angels in this inning against Colby Lewis had a bloop single by C.J. Cron, and Johnny Giovatello lined one to left field. That spelled the end of the afternoon for Colby, who after 5+ innings of work departed. Turned the ball game over to Alex Claudio. Cron at second, Giovatello at first. Rangers looking for that double play grounder. Base hit to center. Charging Desmond. Everybody moving up 90 feet. That's 3 consecutive singles. And the Angels now bases loaded, nobody out. Jet Bandy, the catcher, is coming up. And again, Jeff Bannister on his way to the mound. We've got a couple of right-handed hitters now at the bottom of the Angel order. And Jeff Bannister making another slow walk. And he has pointed to the bullpen. He wants Tony Barnett to enter the ball game. Well, he will inherit a bases loaded, nobody out jam here in the 6th inning. Rangers leading by 2, but that lead is in jeopardy. Tony Barnett coming on. We'll tell you all about him when we come back after this timeout. MLB All-Star Game. Visit TexasRangers.com/vote and vote for the Rangers as your favorite team, and you'll get an offer for 50% off tickets for select games in August or September. Vote today, vote tomorrow, vote online only. Vote for your Rangers at TexasRangers.com/vote. Well, Tony Barnett, the 32-year-old rookie right-hander, on the hill now, and he has inherited a bunch of trouble as he fires a breaking ball for strike 1 to Jet Bandy. And immediately, Bobby Wilson going out to the mound to talk to Barnett and Elvis Andrus, Rougned Odor. And Elvis pointing back at second base. That's where Gio Vitella is stationed, saying hey, he might be trying to relay signs or location to Bandy, the hitter. Gio Vitella said, no, I wouldn't do that. 0-1 the count. Ripped to left center field. Desmond on the run, makes the catch. Gets the ball back in quickly. Crone tags at third and scores. Nice play by Ian Desmond to run that ball down in the gap. Turns into a sacrifice fly. That makes it a 7-6 Ranger lead, as Bandy has his second RBI of the afternoon.
Well, Bandy swung the bat pretty nice today. He hit his double hard to left field. And Ian plays center field a little different than other center fielders. He gets rid of the ball, as we've said a number of times, like a shortstop. Doesn't wait to take a couple steps, plant and throw. He catches it and throws all at the same time.
Ian has been busy out there in center today. It's his 9th opportunity. And now Gregorio Petit, a swinging strike one. Petit gave Desmond one of those 9 opportunities, a fly ball last time up. Desmond getting plenty of work out there this afternoon. A 7-6 Ranger lead. First and second for the Angels with one out. Petit, a 275 average. With runners in scoring position, the Angels 283. They are 3 for 7 today. One ball and one strike. Tony Barnett in a very important statistical category for mid-inning and late-inning relievers has now inherited 18 runners when he has come into the ball game. 3 of them, including C.J. Cron this inning, have scored. That's a very good percentage. Less than 17%. 1-2 on the foul ball. Petit, a little bit less than his overall average with the runners in scoring position. He's 3 for 13. It would be big to get a ground ball at one of the Ranger infielders right here. 2 on, 1 out, a ball and 2 strikes the count. Loop to right, but right there Mazzara. Now he has to back up to make the catch. That little almost misstep by Mazzara prevented Gio Botello from advancing. 2 outs. And Escobar coming up.
Yeah, Petit just reached out and stroked that ball, but he definitely centered it solidly. Takes a little bit to get it over Nomar's head at 6'4".
Yeah.
But that little step in almost allowed that to happen, but he recovered quickly. A couple of well hit outs. Sac fly to center and line drive to right. Trying to get this last out, preserve a 1-run lead.
And Elvis into the mound to talk to Bobby Wilson and Tony Barnett. Elvis much more emphatic about giving his input this year in visits to the mound and taking more of a leadership role out there in the middle infielders. Yunel Escobar, 2 out of 2. He's had a sacrifice fly. He's also doubled and singled. He has scored twice. 1 ball and no strikes. Ranger infield plays Escobar slightly around to the left. Outfield shaded a couple of steps the same direction. Good fastball from Barnett. 1-1. See Tony Barnett throwing that cut fastball that's 87, 88, and then his good fastball that's 92 or 93. That's a pretty good combination. And then he'll change speeds, drop down even lower than that with a curveball or a changeup. Up the middle, Odor has it. A flip goes for the force, and that will do it.
That's
Nice
too
play
close
by Odor and Andrews. Angels get a run on 3 hits, but they strand 2. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. It's now the Rangers 7 and the Angels 6 on Fox Sports Southwest. It's time now for the Sonic Slam Inning, brought to you by Sonic. Today's jackpot is worth $100 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Robert King from Wiley wins $100. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Robert is going to win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Now, Mitch Moreland starting things off. It's the bottom third of the Ranger order here in the 6th inning. Moreland, Andrews, and Wilson against Dale-Lise Guerra. Guerra has retired the first 6 Rangers he has faced coming on in relief. And Moreland into center field, but that's hanging up for Mike Trout. Out number 1. So Mitch, you snapped an 0 for 17, 0 for 18 last time up with a double. Hit it pretty much on the nose, but lines to center. Now Elvis Andrus coming up. Elvis, an RBI single in the 2nd. In the 3rd inning, he grounded to his counterpart, shortstop Gregorio Petit. 11-game hitting streak now for the Rangers shortstop. One ball and no strikes.
Yeah, it appears Guerra is not a hard thrower, 89-90. But I'd say more than half of his pitches have been changeups, and that's been pretty successful. 7 hitters.
2-0 to Elvis. Elvis, like his infield partner on the left side of the diamond, Adrian Beltre, putting up great numbers in his career against the Angels. Elvis has scored more runs, had more hits, more stolen bases against the Angels than any other club. And his career batting average against Los Angeles, the 2nd highest that he has against any opponent. Of course, the Cleveland Indians took the brunt and still take the brunt of Elvis Andrus every time he sees him. 2 balls and a strike. Base hit to right center. That is up the alley. Elvis with a turn at first and now falls down as Trout gets to the ball. I don't think he was going to try for second anyway. Trout got to that ball pretty quickly, but Elvis will you see the guy saying a sniper got him going around first base. That may call for a fine in Kangaroo Court.
Well, that's how Elvis hit the ball early in the season, first 3 weeks of the year. He hit a lot of balls just like that. Line drives right field. Well, that's a good sign. Hit that ball hard.
Yeah, that's going to be a fine. You get fined for trying to ice skate on the field.
Well, he made it look pretty graceful the way he went down.
Yeah.
Could have rolled around a little bit.
Well, Elvis at first, and with 1 out, I would imagine he'd have his running shoes on, given the opportunity. And Bobby Wilson at the plate. Wilson 1 for 1. Had a single in the 3rd inning after sacrificing bunt in the 2nd. And Wilson a drive down the left field line. If it's fair, it's out of here, but it is foul. Just kept hooking at the pole. It was 15, 20 feet foul. The wind encouraging that ball to continue to hook. Plenty of distance. Bobby, you'll remember, has 2 home runs this year. They both come with the bases full. A pair of grand salamis. 0-1 the count. Time called momentarily. Jet Bandy flashed the signs out. Guerra is set. One ball and 1 strike. Our Steel pitch tracker, keeping you up to date on locations from pitch to pitch. Bobby playing against the team that he broke in with. little looping drive. It is over the glove of Petit. Andrus got a late break from first, but he was running on the pitch. It must have been the hit and run. And Bobby Wilson finding green grass out there over the leap of Gregorio Petit.
Well, the Angels have dropped in a couple of balls like that in the last couple of innings. They've scored 1 run in each of those innings. Well, the Rangers drop one in. Now it's first and third for Odor. About a foot over Petit's head as the Rangers try to, with 1 out, get that run back. Make a 1-run lead, a 2-run lead.
Bobby Wilson with some perfect placement.
That was. Thought for a second he was going to get, Petit was going to get back there and catch that ball.
Well, the Rangers trying to answer the Angels, who have put single runs on the board the last 2 innings. Runners at the corners with 1 out. And the top of the order once again, Rougned Odor. Odor 1 for 3. Angel infield back up the middle. They are double play death, Petit and Giovotella. One ball and no strikes. Cornermen for the Angels, Escobar at third and Cron at first. Up even with their bags or just in front of them. Get a good overhead look at the defensive deployment. Guerra with the 1-0 pitch. Another one of those change-ups that this one floated high, and it's 2-0.
He's definitely not afraid to throw the change-up.
Craig Malley, left-hander, out in the bullpen for the Angels. And you look down the order, I imagine he's getting ready for Prince Fielder. 2 balls, no strikes. Pulled to Cron, who knocks it down. He's going to try to come home. The throw is wide. Elvis scores the RBI for Odor. The Rangers get one of those runs back. It's now 8-6.
Yeah, that's just a case of Cron wanted to catch the ball and go home. After he didn't catch it, he probably would have been better served just getting the out at first. Instead, he tried a futile attempt to get the runner at home. That was Elvis. So the Rangers pick up the run, and the Angels don't get anybody out. Second ground ball to the infield that Rougned's picked up an RBI with.
Cron trying to make that sidearm throw, get rid of it in a hurry, and it was wide to the foul side on first base side of home plate. So Elvis coming down the line to score. Rangers now have a 2-run lead once again. Runners at first and second, still just 1 out. And Ian Desmond, who is 0 for 3, will step to the plate. And Jet Bandy going to go out and have a little chat with Guerra. Remember, Ian Desmond faced Guerra back in the 4th inning. Hit the ball right on the nose to right field, but it was at Cole Calhoun. Matt Bush in that Ranger bullpen. Brad Holman, the assistant pitching coach / bullpen coach out there. Well, the crowd getting into it. Rangers making more noise here in the 6th inning. One ball, no strikes. Got Bobby Wilson at second base. Rougned Odor at first, and Ian Desmond looking for his first hit of the afternoon. Bobby Wilson had the hit and run single to left field. Rougned Odor reached on the fielder's choice with an RBI. That is outside. 2-0. Well, the spray chart for Ian Desmond. Ground balls all over the place, except right down either line. Outfield, pretty well spread out. And the defensive deployment, as you see for the Angels, would reflect that. Trout maybe shading to right center a little bit. Didn't really want to do it on the changeup. Couldn't stop himself. 2-1. Ian giving himself a little batting lesson, a little tutorial there. So keep those hands back. Stay back on the ball. Is that a favorite saying of hitters? Is that a favorite saying of hitters to stay back?
Stay back. Yep. Stay back. Make them get it up. Don't help them out. You hear those all the way from Little League. That's the way to lay off it. Got him to offer at it, pitch before it, but he laid off that one.
3 balls and a strike. Desmond, the number 2 hitter in the Ranger order. Prince Fielder, the DH, stretching out in the on-deck circle. Guerra leaning in for the sign, now a belt high set. Shallow center field. Trout still coming off, can't get there. It is down for a hit, and the bases are loaded for Prince Fielder. Well, the Rangers have had a couple of those dying quails in this inning.
I mentioned the Angels dropped a couple in the last couple of innings, and the Rangers returned the favor with a couple of them in this inning.
Well, Mike Scioscia on his way to the mound as that last one is looped in, and Adrian Beltre turns into the Rangers' biggest cheerleader down there for Ian Desmond. So bases loaded. That's going to do it for Guerra. Greg Malley, the left-hander, going to be asked to come on in to face Prince Fielder. We will take a timeout for this pitching change at Globe Life Park. Rangers on top 8-6, looking for more. Bunch more as Greg Malley has entered the ball game. Malley in his 19th ball game. He is just a 23-year-old Southern California product. In a tight spot here, the league hitting .245 against the young left-hander, and he is facing Prince Fielder with the bases full of Rangers. And Robert King over there in Wiley on the edge of his seat. Hang on here, Robert. A home run here wins you $25,000 in our Sonic Slam inning. Prince Fielder with 1 career grand slam out of his 300-plus home runs. But he's got the bases full of teammates here in the 6th. Ooh, there was one for him to work with. Just a little bit more of the plate. Would have been on a tee for Prince. There's our steel pitch tracker showing you that just off the outside corner. No balls, 2 strikes. Now 1-2. Rangers have Bobby Wilson down at third, Rougned Odor at second, Ian Desmond at first. 1 out, a run across. Rangers leading by 2, looking to break it wide open. Malley in his first foray into the big leagues. Last year pitched at Double-A was the highest. The 1-2. That will even things out.
Trying to get Prince to chase, and he laid off those well outside.
Prince facing Greg Malley, who was a 15th round draft pick back in 2014. Played his collegiate baseball at the University of California, Santa Barbara. Prince just getting a piece of that to stay alive at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Malley giving himself a little talking to. Odor inching away from second. And a chopper down to first. It's a foul ball. We'll reset and try it again. Prince back to the plate, and in case you were wondering, it's been a while, like about 31 games since Prince Fielder had his last home run. Game against the Astros back on the 19th of April, so he is due and overdue. Be a great time for him to drive one into the upper home run porch. Malley with another 2-2 pitch. Just missed down and away. Our steel pitch tracker showing you that not quite touching the strike zone.
Well, he's tried to get him to swing at pitches out of the strike zone, but now he doesn't really have that luxury, because if Prince takes it, he risks walking in a run.
No place to put him. 3-2 with 1 out. Crowd making some noise for the Rangers here in the 6th inning. Payoff pitch inside, ball 4, and that forces in a run. Wilson down the line from third. Second run of the inning. The Ranger lead has increased. It's now 9-6.
Well, he had him 0-2, and then tried to make a perfect pitch. Couldn't do it. Then when he had to throw a strike, he didn't come close. That's a pretty good walk for Prince.
Yep.
Down 0-2.
So the bases remain loaded. Here's Adrian Beltre. 1 for 3 this afternoon. Nothing in 1. Beltre's 1 hit, a 3rd inning double. Hit it high off the Southwest Airlines sign and deepest left center field. Odor, Desmond, and Fielder. 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. And Malley gets the top of the strike zone. It is 0-2. Rougned Odor got an RBI on a Fielder's choice grounder. Reached first. Ian Desmond followed with a single to center. Then it was Prince Fielder who drew the bases loaded walk for his 24th run driven in this year. And now Adrian Beltre, the team leader, with 29 RBI, looking for more. Rangers putting up some crooked numbers here this afternoon. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, the Rangers have used a couple of bloopers, a grounder to first and a walk, to get 2 and potentially put up a lot more right here.
Malley set. Beltre, a drive to left. If it's fair, it's gone. Foul.
Oh, that was closer than Bobby's.
Just foul. Yes, it was.
Seems like the Rangers have had a lot of those this year. Man. That's a hard one to watch if our guy's watching it.
Goodness gracious.
There was 25 grand on that one.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Wow.
Still a ball and 2 strikes, and Malley's set again. And Adrian shoots that into the club level down the right side. Still 1-2.
Yeah, Malley got Adrian to take a couple of strikes. He'll have a hard time getting him to take a strike right now.
Yeah.
I'll be shocked if he does.
About the only way he'd get him to take one is if he threw it right-handed. Completely surprised Adrian. Call, strike 3. I take it back.
Well, he took it, but I don't know if it was a strike or not.
O'Malley credited with a huge strikeout.
He accomplished what he was trying to accomplish. You could see the 6th pitch near the inside corner. That call went the pitcher's way.
So out number 2, but hang on here because Nomar Mazzara is coming up. Mazzara 1 for 3 today with a home run. Nothing in 1. Nomar at 318 with the average now 19 RBI. We'll take you back to the 2nd inning. Mazzara touched off the Hector Santiago pitch. Estimated at 491 feet.
Yeah, because that wasn't a sky-high fly ball coming straight down. Boy, he almost balked, didn't he?
I thought so.
That ball was a line drive. It looked like a couple of rows above the exit. They had a lot of distance to still go. We don't need that right now, though. We'll take a little 150-foot blooper.
But we wouldn't give it back.
No. I would take it.
2 balls and a strike.
Take a walk.
And you see what Jeff Bannister was complaining about it. He did step off. Now he disengaged from the pitching rubber before he made him look toward third or move toward third base. And that's fine.
Yep.
If he had stepped toward third first, that would have been a balk. 2-1 the count. Line drive, left center, that's a base hit. Odor scored. Ian Desmond right behind him scores. Nomar Mazzara, 2-run single, and the Rangers lead 11-6. The ball gets away and everybody advances 90 more feet.
Well, Nomar continues to use the whole field, and as they say, it sounds like a cliche, take what the pitcher will give him. Not trying to pull the ball, actually inside outs that inside pitch. Softly over shortstop. Big 2-out hit. Give the Rangers a little bit of breathing room.
Boy, that got Anzer Alberto and everybody on that Ranger bench up and cheering. Well, the Rangers with a 4 spot here in the 6th inning, and they're not done yet. Ryan Rua is going to be given the intentional walk to load him up again. And it will bring Mitch Moreland up with the bases full and another chance for $25,000.
Boy, this is an agonizing inning for our contestant.
Robert King has been on the edge of his seat. He's collapsed back into it. On the edge of his seat, collapsed back into it. Well, Robert, hang on now.
Not done yet, Robert.
So Mitch, who began all of this by lining out to center field, becomes the 10th hitter the Rangers have sent to the plate here in this 6th inning. Mitch, one career grand slam. Should be two, but one of them got rained out. Off the end of the bat, into the shift. And Giavatella throws out Moreland. That will do it. So the Rangers leave them loaded, but they put 4 on the board in the meantime. And now take an 11-6 lead into the 7th inning. Now for a 4-game summary. A lot of offense for the Rangers that got started with Nomar Mazzara pounding one at 491 feet to right field, his 8th home run of the year. Mitch Moreland stinging the ball off of the umpire, Angel Hernandez, that drove home a run in the 3rd inning. It's getting it done, and then the big blast of the 6th inning. Nomar Mazzara, a 2-run single, capping off a 4-run 6th. As the Rangers take an 11-6 lead over the Angels into the late innings.
491 feet for Nomar. He just turned 21. And when you think of the sluggers around the game, that's the longest ball hit so far this year in the major leagues. That one would have been fun to watch where it would have landed. Had the stands not been there.
Yeah, it still had a lot of carry into it. Oh, Calhoun lines one to right. That is right at Nomar Mazzara. Out number 1. Barnett getting Calhoun to line out. Now Mike Trout.
I think the Angels have probably seen enough of Nomar Mazzara. It's only the 6th time that we played him. They got 13 more times to see him.
Mazzara breaking in against the Angels in the 10th of April in that series, and promptly greeted Jared Weaver with a 3-hit day, including his first home run.
Actually, it's more games than that. They played them twice in April, so they've got we're about halfway there against the Angels, somewhere around there. But he's had more than half a season's worth of production against one team against them.
Yeah, I was going to say no matter how long, how many it's been, they've had enough.
You know, they're going to be talking about him midway through his rookie season, like we've talked about guys like whoever they've been, Mike Trout, Tim Salmon, guys that have come in here and killed the Rangers. Kyle Seager.
Trout 0 for 2 today, and a sacrifice fly his last time up.
Ouch.
Boy, he got that broken off. A bare hand pickup, and he got it. Nice play by Elvis.
Well, that must have been one with a full swing where Mike didn't get out of the box real quick. You know, he gets down to first base about as fast as any right-hand hitter in baseball. And I don't think he had a very good start on that one.
I think he got jammed so badly it pushed him back.
Yeah, it looked like it. Yeah, when you take a full swing like that as a right-hand hitter, it's tough to get out of the box quickly. You reach for it and hit it to second base and get a little bit of a head start. A little bit different story. Nevertheless, a bare hand play on a ball rolling like that's a beautiful play by Elvis.
2 outs, and Albert Pujols takes ball 1. When Elvis has said, you know, one thing that he's most proud of with this Ranger ball club this year is the defense, how much they've improved, and he's right in the middle of that improvement. He is having a whale of a year defensively. 2 balls and no strikes. Rangers come in at 3rd in the American League, actually tied for 2nd in the American League. 21 errors, 988 fielding percentage. 2-0 to Pujols. Albert today 0 for 3. That's off the end of the bat. And Rougned Odor will lob it on to Moreland. That'll do it. So Tony Barnett has a 1-2-3-7. Angels gone will take the stretch at Globe Life Park in Arlington. It's the Rangers need 11, the Angels 6. This afternoon's greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Mariners are hot. How about Leonis Martinez? 2-run walk-off home run last night off the A's closer Ryan Madsen. Robinson Cano leading Major League Baseball with 42 RBI. They are playing well in Seattle. Jackie Bradley Jr., meanwhile, with the Red Sox, halfway home. He has 28 straight games, chasing Joe DiMaggio. What's the Red Sox record for that? It's also DiMaggio, but his brother Don. 34 games.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Our crack statistical crew came up with that. Elvis with the 2 hits this afternoon, now up to 298. Elvis had gone through a streak of about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. He wasn't getting any base hits, and now he's back on the way up. Hits this one hard down the right field line, but it's slicing and going foul. Cricket Wireless bringing you something to smile about. There's always something out here at Globe Life Park to smile about. Elvis, somebody greased up the base paths over there for Elvis going around that first base sack. Gave the guys on the bench something to smile about, that's for sure. No balls, 2 strikes. Andrews leading off the Rangers' 7th inning. Still nothing in 2. Three weeks ago, Elvis was hitting .343. Went through a streak where he hit just .244, and that dropped his average down to its current level. Now working it right on back up. Driving in runs along the way. Now has 17 for the year. Malley with the 1-2. Left-hander okays the sign. And Elvis skies to right field. Calhoun with a catch, 1 gone. Before Bobby Wilson steps in, let's send it over to Aaron Hardigan for a Chevy game break.
Wow.
All right, Aaron, thank you. Headlines.
I think he was trying to win his 20th straight decision.
Yeah, that's being on a roll, I think.
I guess so. Of course, when the other team never scores against you, it's pretty easy to have that kind of a roll.
Sean Tollison getting ready in the Ranger bullpen. Yeah, generally, if you don't give up many runs, you're not going to lose many.
No.
Bobby Wilson, like his predecessor, Elvis Andrus, a 2-hit afternoon. Bobby 2 for 2. Pops this one foul behind home plate. And Bandy back to take a look, but he runs out of room. Nothing in 2 now. Bobby a couple of singles, once in the 3rd and once in the 6th inning. He has scored once. To center field, Trout in a hurry. He's going to have to pull up. And Bobby Wilson has a 3-hit afternoon. 3 singles. He's aboard with 1 out here in the 7th inning.
Ranger catchers just continue to do everything you want to see from your catchers. Defense, calling a game, working with a pitcher, throwing, getting base hits, driving in runs, you name it, they're doing it.
Well, the Rangers now 13 hits this afternoon. Rougned Odor up for his 5th at bat. Odor has 1 of them. He has driven in a couple. Odor started the day right where he is with the batting average, 262. Nothing in 2 now as Malley dropped down on that last one. Inside it hit him. You can hear him hit it right on the armor of his elbow.
When you got that on your elbow, you don't have to move out of the way. That's going to chap Mike Social.
Yep.
But he's not the only one doing those things. Jose Bautista had one on where he got hit.
Needed one on his jaw. So Odor aboard, 2 on now with 1 out. And Ian Desmond again stepping to the batter's box. Charles Nagy, the pitching coach for the Angels, out to have a chat with Greg Malley and Jet Bandy. Desmond, a base hit in 4 trips. He has scored a run. He has driven in a run today. Desmond looking for another multi-hit game. Up the middle, off of the leg of Malle. He recovers and throws back in time, and there is another multiple hit game, his 18th of the year. And that is tops on the Rangers. Got Malle right in the back of that right leg. Trying to knock it down, and he did. It just went too far away, and Desmond, with his speed, able to beat out that infield single. So the bases again loaded for the Rangers. Seemed like every time you looked up last inning, the bases were loaded. Here they are again, and Prince Fielder, who had an opportunity with the bases loaded last inning, drew a walk. Takes high for ball one. Fielder was the first hitter that Greg Malle faced coming into the ballgame. Drew that free pass, driving in his 24th run of the year. Now one more shot with 3 Rangers on base. Fouled right back below us. 1-1. The Rangers 15-8 at home this year. I'm not sure they played a game where everything offensively has gone well for them like it has today in this ballpark. Season average of .302 with runners in scoring position. That's gone up a couple. Rangers came into play trailing the Boston Red Sox, who were hitting .299 in that AL race for the top spot. 2-1 to Fielder. Prince today, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 2 runs scored. Well, one score, I'm sorry. Jose Alvarez getting loose and loosening quickly in that Angel bullpen. Call strike 3. And Fielder gone for the third time on strikes today. It'll be up to Adrian Beltre if the Rangers aren't to score anymore in this inning. Second strikeout for Malle. The first strikeout victim is stepping into the batter's box right now. Adrian Beltre called out on strikes last inning as he takes low for ball one.
Malle's thrown 43 pitches now in an inning and a third.
It's not been a good day to answer the bullpen phone if you're with the Angels. 2-0. Boren came in, gave up a run on 3 hits in 2/3 of an inning. Guerra gave up 4 runs in 2 1/3 on 3 hits. And now Malle in danger of coughing up some more runs. That catches the inside corner. It's 2-1 to Adrian. Remember, Beltre last time pulled the trigger just a shade early against Malle and missed a grand slam by a matter of a couple of feet. He's not going to miss a couple of RBIs here into left field. Wilson scores. Odor scores. Beltre with 2 RBI. It is a 13-6 Ranger lead as Adrian Beltre has a 2-hit day.
Bobby Wilson's the only Ranger without at least 1 RBI, and he scored a couple and had 3 hits. Not like he's had a bad day. Again, hits the ball sharply past Escobar.
Well, that base hit by Beltre, leading Ranger runs 12 and 13. That's going to spell the end of the afternoon for Greg Malle. Call to the bullpen, Jose Alvarez coming on. We will take a timeout. Tell you all about Alvarez when we come back right after this. The Rangers have tied a season high by scoring 13 runs. Nomar Mazzara is looking to eclipse that season high as he stands in there, runners at first and second. First pitch from Jose Alvarez is fouled back. We'll take a look at our delivery of the game, brought to you by Jimmy John's. Nomar Mazzara with a lead down to 1 run for the Rangers. Capitalizes with a 2-run single, gives the Rangers some breathing room, and what a great day again for Nomar Mazzara. 2 more hits this afternoon. And he takes a strike here, much to his chagrin. There's Jose Alvarez, the workhorse for the Angels out of that bullpen, his 24th appearance. .275 opponent's batting average against the left-hander. He wants to talk with Jet Bandy. Well, Alvarez, the 5th pitcher employed by Mike Scioscia here this afternoon. Rangers 13 runs on 15 hits today. Alvarez with the 0-2. Tapper foul. We'll reload, try it again.
Another day for half-price Papa John's pizza tomorrow, too.
If you get to 14, do you get more off?
No, then you get, no, I better not say that. Someone will believe me. I was going to say, if you get double the runs, you get it for free, but that's not true.
Crone has that. He will win the race to the bag. Mazzara out. The Rangers are gone, but they tack on 2 more runs on 3 hits and leave 2 after 7. It's now the Rangers 13, the Angels 6 on Fox Sports Southwest.
Buzz and Tom, time for the Progressive Fan of the Game. We have to give it to Mary Bellamy out of Grand Prairie, 100 years young. She watches the Rangers all the time, but taking in her very first game ever, Major League game. Congratulations, Mary. Here's the bag. Have you had a good time today?
Yes, I've had a good time. I've enjoyed it. First time I've ever gone to a ball game like this.
Well, congratulations. Good to have you out here, Progressive Fan of the Game. Enjoy the rest of the game, Mary.
In 100 years. I'm 100 years old.
I know that. Well, congratulations. Good to have you out here, Mary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Boy, you got to love that. 100 years old, right up
That's
there
so.
with Elizabeth Sullivan, our friend from earlier in this season. Elizabeth's probably watching the game right now.
Sean Tolleson on. C.J. Crone, the first hitter he faces. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tolleson following Tony Barnett and Alex Claudio come on relief of the starter, Colby Lewis. Tolly in his 20th appearance, 0-2 with an 8.44 ERA. The league hitting .343 against him. And hear Jeff Bannister talk about it. John Tolleson trying to get that fastball, changeup, breaking ball combo back to where they are effective again for him. Said the combination didn't work well for him and the command wasn't quite where he wanted it. We're trying to get Sean into some lower leverage situations. Thrown this afternoon, a single and a run scored, and now 4 trips to the plate. Still 2-2. Donaldson worked here on Monday night, first ball game of this series. Worked an inning and a third. Gave up just 1 hit, had a couple of strikeouts. Two-two. Odor trying to make a jump throw, but Throwing able to leg that out for an infield single. Nice get by Rugnet. I don't think there's a man in baseball that could have thrown him out on that. Not many guys can get to a ball like that.
No, just getting to the ball and getting it accurately to first base is a pretty good accomplishment. And there might be 1 or 2 runners in the league that he could have gotten. Crone obviously is not one of them. That's some athletic ability, which you see in so many major league middle infielders.
Well, the Angels now with double figures in hits. They have 10 of them and make that 11 as Giovatelli shoots one right back through the middle. For Giovatelli, he has a 3-hit day. And the Rangers, this part of their order today has really done the trick. Giovatelli has 3 hits. Ortega's been on 2 times. Dandy's driven in a couple of runs. So the feared middle part of the order hasn't done much. The guys from 5 down have. Ortega a single and a walk, along with a fly ball to center field as he looks at strike 1. There's that changeup looked like. Brendan Ryan is an infielder loosening in that Angel bullpen. We told you today that Angels now back down to a 7-man pen after they designated for assignment Lucas Lichtke. Pretty good fastball in on the fist.
Well, the other pitchers they've got, Cam Bedrosian, Salas and Smith. Salas and Smith are their setup guy and closer. They don't want to use them in a 7-run game. Bedrosian's pitched in this series. Tried to get as much as they could out of Greg Malley. He threw a lot of pitches.
Bobby Wilson flashing the series of signs out. Now time called as he and Sean Tolleson can't get together. Those are the available pitchers and position players for the Angels. See that, as Tom was saying, Joe Smith, their closer right now, and Fernando Salas, their primary right-handed setup men, not candidates to be in a ball game like this. Cam Bedrosian has worked a little too much. That pitch outside. 1-2 the count to Ortega. Ortega a .266 average as he takes just a little bit low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Matt Bush, who had been up earlier, loosening in that Ranger bullpen. Matt has worked in each of the last 2 ball games. Hit well to right field. Mazzara moving back, He is at the wall. That ball's in the Ranger bullpen. Ortega with a 3-run home run. The Angels cut into the Ranger lead. It's now 13-9 Rangers.
Yeah, you're right, Buzz. Big day for the bottom of the order.
Rafael Ortega, his first major league home run. And that's going to do it for Sean Tolleson as Jeff Bannister trying to thwart any potential Angel comeback in what had been a comfortable 6-run lead for the Rangers, now down to 3. So Matt Bush being summoned from the bullpen while he makes his way in. We'll take a timeout. We're back to Globe Life Park right after this. Ballpark on Saturday, June 4th. Rangers will take on the Mariners that night. The first 7,500 kids 13 and under will get a Dairy Max 3/4 sleeve AL West champion t-shirt. Get your tickets by visiting TexasRangers.com. Well, Matt Bush, the 30-year-old rookie, on now to try and calm things down. He's greeted by Jet Bandy's base hit to left field. So Bandy not wasting any time. On a first pitch from Matt Bush, and one on, still nobody out for the Angels.
And Bandy swinging the bat, trying to make a push for some playing time. There's a trainer coming out, along with Mike Scioscia.
Didn't notice anything that Bandy did running down there. Must have rounded the bag awkwardly.
Hamstring?
Could have been. Well, Mike Scioscia says, no, that's going to be it for Jet Bandy.
There it is right there.
Yep.
Something grabbed. Groin maybe?
Probably. Doing that swing, yeah. So Carlos Perez, the other catcher on the Angels staff, now comes in to take over for Bandy. And when we get some information on Bandy's injury, we'll pass it along. Carlos Perez coming in to take Bandy's spot at first. He's there with nobody out. 3 runs across for the Angels here in the 8th inning. Gregorio Petit now, the number 9 man, will step in. Slider a little bit outside for ball 1. Petit 0 for 3, but he does have an RBI this afternoon. 2-0. Matt Bush, as we were mentioning, has worked the last 2 nights He's worked all 3 games now in this series. He's also worked 4 of the last 5 ball games the Rangers have had, going back to the Houston series. That one's hit hard, but it's right at Ryan Rua. There is out number 1. Matt used 14 pitches in last night's ball game. He had 15 the night before. It's not just the total number of pitches, the number of times you get up and loosen up that have to be figured into the fatigue factor.
Yeah, earlier in the game, he was firing out there ready to come in the game. The Rangers scored a bunch of runs, and rather than bring in Matt, Tony Barnett went out for another inning.
Now 1 out. And once again, Yunel Escobar, the leadoff hitter. He takes ball 1. Escobar a single and a double in 3 official trips today. He also has a sacrifice fly. Lifted in the air to right center. Mazzara and Desmond will lead Nomar Mazzara. That is out number 2. And Jake Diekman up and loosening in that Ranger pen. Jeff Bannister not willing to let this go any further than absolutely necessary to have somebody ready in case Matt Bush would falter. He had Matt up when Sean Tollison gave up the first hit of 3 consecutive. The skipper very well aware of the Angels' ability to come back in games like this. Cole Calhoun, a check swing. And the appeal down to Ted Barrett, who said no swing. 1 ball, no strikes. Calhoun a couple of singles this afternoon. Drove in a run with his first one in the first inning. Calhoun last night had a base hit to right against Matt Bush. One and one. Matt in last night's game scored upon for the first time in his big league career. Gave up 1 run on a couple of hits. So I think check that off your list of things you didn't really want to do but had to get out of the way. Two balls and a strike. Calhoun, as you noted, a .294 hitter. Rangers in the overshift against Calhoun. Elvis Andrus a good 10 steps to the first base side of second. Adrian Beltre all by himself over there on the left side of the diamond. Two and two now. Calhoun settling back in the batter's box. Perez, the pinch runner at first. The 2-2 from Bush. Looping drive, that is by Odor into right field. Perez will stop at second. And Calhoun has his third hit of the day, and now Mike Trout coming to the plate in this 4-run game. And Doug Brocail will go out and make a trip very quickly to talk to his battery. Well, it seems like nothing has come easy today to anybody who's taken the mound. It has been a rough day on pitchers.
29 hits in the ball game. Ranger pitchers haven't walked many. Colby walked 1. But the hitters have hit the ball hard, and when they haven't hit the ball hard, they found holes anyway. Been some infield hits, been a number of bloopers, and there's been a number of rockets hit in this game too.
Mike Trout has not had a base hit. He is 0 for 3, but he does have a sacrifice fly. 0-1 on the foul ball.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who pitches for the Angels. I don't think it's going to be Brendan Ryan now that they've scored 3 runs. Because Alvarez could just stay in the game.
Right. One ball and 1 strike to Trout.
You know, Matt's still throwing the ball fine, 95, 96, but you know, against Trout, he's reaching back for all he's got, and 98, 99 don't seem to be there today after 3 straight outings.
Pop foul. That's back into the seats. Went with that cutter / slider that he is featuring.
And in this situation, with maybe not his best fastball, certainly a good fastball. Nice to have that pitch, that 89 to 92 mile-an-hour slider to use as a weapon to get a hitter out, especially a hitter the caliber of Mike Trout.
And Trout doesn't make it very easy on even when he has 2 strikes. You saw that average up above 270. Bush back to the plate. Trying to get that fastball by him inside and missed off the plate. 2-2. Perez at second, Calhoun at first. Bush checks him. Got that one in well to Trout.
Trout's a guy who doesn't try to pull the ball. We saw the at bat that he had, I think it was yesterday against Matt, where he took that 96 mile-an-hour fastball and hit a shot into right center field. Just fought that last pitch off. Good fastball on the inside corner.
And that's inside, 3-2. And you want to make Trout swing the bat. You don't want to have to face Albert Pujols, who is in the on-deck circle as the tying run. Time call. Trout tired of waiting. Matt Bush and Bobby Wilson trying to come up with something to get out of this inning. The payoff pitch with the runners on the move. High in the air to center field. This isn't going anywhere. Stepped into Ian Desmond's glove, and that will do it. So Bush, despite giving up a couple hits, gets out of the inning. The Angels are limited to 3 runs. They leave 2 aboard. We will go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Rangers now leading 13-9 on Fox Sports Southwest.
run lead over the Angels in the finale of this 3-game series here at Globe Life Park. Off day tomorrow for this team. Then the Pittsburgh Pirates come to town for a 3-game interleague set over the weekend. Things get going on Friday night here on Fox Sports Southwest. Andrew McCutchen going up against Cole Hamels. Cole has obviously been dominant so far this season. We'll see if he can continue that dominance against the National League's Pittsburgh Pirates on Friday. Things get going at 7 o'clock here on Fox Sports Southwest. A big thanks to the fine folks at AT High-Speed Internet for getting us ready for a 3-gamer between the Pirates and the Rangers, guys.
All right, and thank you. Ryan Rua dunking in a double down the right field line, his 3rd hit of the afternoon.
There's been a lot of balls hit that outfield grass for base hits. There's another one. And several guys in the game with 3 hits. Ryan's one of them.
16 hits now for the Rangers this afternoon. Carlos Perez, by the way, is staying in the ball game. He pinch ran for Jet Bandy. Perez behind the plate. Mitch Moreland, that ball off the glove of Perez, so down to 3rd goes Ryan Rua. Well, the Rangers have had an answer almost every time the Angels have scored this afternoon. Early in the game was just catching back up. Then once they took the lead, it's been adding on. A wild pitch. That'll bring the Angel infield now all the way in. 1 ball and no strikes to Mitch. Moreland 1 for 3 with an RBI double. He walked back in the 2nd inning and scored that time. Out of play, and the count moves to 1-2. You're talking about Ian Desmond, how busy he has been in center field. He has set a club record for most putouts in a 9-inning ball game. He had 10 of them. Wow. Well, that's it wasn't just our imagination. It's record territory for Ian Desmond. Moreland waiting. Alvarez ready for the 1-2 pitch. Pulled foul, and we'll try it again.
Nice play. Watching her between innings. She's got a good arm, too.
I'm not sure anybody around the league has ball girls that throw any better than the Rangers.
I doubt it. We've had ball girls that throw better than certain outfielders.
Yeah.
That might be a slight exaggeration, but not by too much. A couple of them have had great arms. All of them do. Wouldn't be out there if they didn't.
Again, Alvarez, the left-hander. Slowly tapped down the first baseline. It's going to stay foul. Mitch just able to get enough of it to stay alive. Moreland with the average at 228 as he faces Alvarez. Ryan Rua, the runner at 3rd. He's there with nobody out here in the 8th inning. Rangers leading 13-9, but the way the Angels have been coming back, they're looking for some insurance. Got him swinging. Alvarez able to elevate. Gets the strikeout. 1 gone. Elvis Andrus now will come up.
Elvis Andrus.
Elvis a 2-hit day on his ledger now. Pair of singles. He has scored once. He has driven 1 in. He's going to get the intentional walk. With runners at the corners for Bobby Wilson. And Bobby Wilson, all he's done today is have 3 hits.
And just missed a home run,
yeah.
too.
Getting no respect from his former team. But it does set up a potential inning double play. Mike Socha going with that percentage.
Yep, all about the percentages. Throw it.
That looked like my fastball. About that size. Took
Hey,
a
look
bite
what
out
I
of
can do. Oh, right in the head. Oh, the guy's hanging in there. Three-hour plus ball game. He's still ready to go. You can't get that out of my mouth. Colby Lewis has nothing on that kid.
Pretending to be Colby Lewis. That's right. No, the intentional walk puts Elvis at first. First and third now. Bobby Wilson has singled all 3 times that he has come to the plate after his sacrifice bunt. That sacrifice came back in the 2nd inning. Wilson singled in the 3rd, singled and scored in the 6th, and singled and scored in the 7th. He's an average .333. Oh, the Ranger catcher. Loud foul for strike 1. Crowd of nearly 32,500 on hand here today. We have seen a wild and woolly offensive display from these two teams. 24 runs and 30 hits. Excuse me, 22 runs. Alvarez reading the signs. A check of Andrus at first. Bobby Wilson back out, looking down at third base coach Spike Owen, who's going through a series of signs. Good changeup from Alvarez. No balls, 2 strikes. Catcher Carlos Perez looking into the Angel dugout. Get some direction from Mike Scioscia. To right center field. That is going to be down, and it is going to score some runs. Ryan Rua scores. Bobby Wilson foils the strategy with a 2-strike run-scoring double. It is 14-9 Rangers, and they have reached a new season high in runs scored as Bobby Wilson singles home Ryan Rua.
Now, everybody in the Ranger lineup has at least 1 RBI. Bobby has 4 hits and he's scored a couple of runs. It's amazing some days how it's so easy to get a base hit. They just fall in, you score runs. Other days you get men on base, line drives are caught, you can't score no matter what you try. Today's one of those days, boy. There's a lot of holes out there and a lot of hitters finding them.
For Bobby Wilson, that's his first career 4-hit game. And he gets the Rangers over the top. The most runs they've scored in a ball game this year. Now Odor driving one to left field. That chases Ortega back. Tagging at third, Elvis Andrus. He will just jog down the line to score. And the Rangers make it 15-9 as Rougned Odor drives in his 3rd run of the afternoon.
He's driven in 3 runs, 2 with ground balls and 1 with a fly ball.
Center fielder, Ian Desmond.
Another crooked number for the Rangers here in the 8th inning. You get that deuce up there in the run column. Rougned Odor, 3 RBI, now 25 for the year. And Desmond, who is 2 for 5, takes strike 1. Rangers tied for first coming into play this afternoon in sacrifice flies. Randy and Desmond a 3-hit game. Wilson will check in at second. The hits just keep on coming.
It's been one of those games the Rangers have needed to keep scoring because the Angels keep putting men on base as well. Rangers have been able to stop the bleeding a little bit better than the Angels. That's been the big difference.
Jose Alvarez probably standing out there on the mound saying, where's Brendan Ryan when you need him? Why am I absorbing all this? Here's Prince Fielder. Prince 0 for 3. 3 strikeouts. He's also walked twice and driven in a run. Alvarez back to the plate. A ball and a strike. So the Rangers now 15 runs on 18 hits. Sam Dyson and Luke Jackson. Luke Jackson in a 6-run game would be the choice immediately, I would imagine. To left field. Ortega makes that catch, and that will do it. But the Rangers add on. Get 2 more runs. They leave a couple. We're going to the 9th inning here at Globe Life Park. It's 15-9 in favor of the Rangers.
Welcome back to Globe Life Park, where your Texas Rangers have scored a new season-high 15 runs. Those 15 lead the Angels here in the 9th, and we're going to relive all of the great offense today. Coming up on Rangers Live, the post-game show following the game. We'll also recap the longest home run hit in baseball this year and get you set for the series with the Pirates this week. And it's all coming your way after the game as we kick it back across the way to the 2 calling it. Buzz, Tom.
All right, Aaron, thank you. Well, Sam Dyson, in a ball game like this, I think Jeff Bannister probably said, I'm not sure that any lead is safe, so we're just going to close it out with our best.
Yep, we got an off day tomorrow, and we'll come back and regroup the next day, but we're not going to mess around here in the 9th.
So Dyson on, and Sam worked in last night's game, picked up his 5th save of the year, his 3rd since being installed as the closer for the Rangers. He is 5 out of 6 in save opportunities this year. Facing Albert Pujols to start things off. Here in the 9th inning, Pujols takes strike 1. Albert 0 for 4 today. The Rangers have really bottled up Pujols and Trout today. They are a combined 0 for 8. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Got a day where the Angels have 9 runs and 14 hits too. It's a good thing those guys are having slow days.
Yeah.
It'd be 15-15.
The 1-1 from Dyson is just off the outer edge. Pujols this afternoon is flied out, popped out, grounded out, and struck out. Slider just nibbles on the outside corner. 2-2. Dyson with 17 strikeouts and 17 hits in 22 innings. Only has walked 6. The appeal down to first. Angel Hernandez said no, no swing. Well, the count has gone full. Dyson out of Tampa, Florida, went to a baseball powerhouse down there, Jesuit High School. Got him swinging. The 96 and the bottom fell out of it.
Good luck trying to hit that pitch.
A 1 away. Now C.J. Cron. Throwing a 2-hit afternoon, a pair of singles, and he has scored twice. Ball 1. And that a little bit low. 2-0. Sam Dyson closing out last night's ball game. Pretty efficient. 2 strikeouts and a ground out. And that was it. Sam last night needed only 10 pitches to work through the 3 Angels he faced. Elvis gobbles up that ground ball. There is out number 2. Well, you may hit it fairly squarely against Dyson, but it's going to be on the ground more likely than not. As much as that thing sinks. A 2-away base is empty for Johnny Giovotella. Giovotella 3 hits in 4 times to the plate today. He has 2 singles, a double. He has scored twice. Right off the plate, Odor on to first, got him by a step, and that is a winner. Sam Dyson shuts the door pretty emphatically as the Angels go down 1-2-3, and the Rangers win the series, their 7th straight series win here at home. And this crowd of 32,480 will leave happy this afternoon after this matinee victory. Dyson came on and disposed of the Angels in the 9th inning. One of the few pitchers today to be able to come out of the game unscathed. Everybody else had a little bit of a problem, but Sam Dyson and Tony Barnett put up zeros for the Rangers. Matt Bush also unscored upon. The Rangers, Bobby Wilson, a 4-hit game today, his first 4-hit game as a major leaguer. And the Rangers now for the first time in 2016 are 7 games over 500. They came into the game trailing Seattle by a game and a half. And right now they trail the Mariners by 1 game, and we'll wait the outcome of the Mariners game tonight. So the Rangers now at 27-20. They move to 16-8 here at Globe Life Park this year. Colby Lewis gets his 4th straight winning decision of 2016. And the bullpen taking care of the last 4 innings for the Rangers. A 15-9 Ranger victory. Let's head down to the field. Emily Jones is standing by.
Thank you very much. And Bobby Wilson actually excited about the upcoming Powerade bath, but we'll get to one question before that. But the way this team is playing right now, how much of a groove are you guys in?
Yeah, we feel good. It's exciting. you know, it's that never ever quit attitude. You know what I mean?
Feel good, huh?
Yeah, really good.
Good day for that.
Yeah.
You were talking about how much this team loves playing together, never quit, just continuing to answer top to bottom.
Yeah, you know, we got down there early and, you know, we kept battling, kept having good at-bats. You know, like I said, never ever quit and keep fighting.
Seems to be the MO of this team that one aspect or one guy will pick up the next. Yeah. How important is that, especially right now?
Yeah, that's the best part of this team. You know, it's somebody new every night, and you know, that's what winning teams do. You know, you can't just lean on one or two guys. You know, you have to have contribution from everybody, and that's the way it's been rolling.
What about for you personally, Bobby? I know you're happy to be back here, but to be able to have gotten back into the fold as quickly as you did, are you even a little surprised?
No, you know, I'm not. You know, I was really comfortable here last year, really comfortable in spring. It was really disappointing to leave. You know, and you know, the guys in this clubhouse, you know, wanted me back, and you know, that's always a good feeling. So, you know, you want to play hard for management, for the owners, for the players, for everybody.
Congratulations, Bobby. We're glad you're back, too. We'll send it back now to you.
All right, Dan, thanks very much. Yeah, Bobby Wilson, part of the 18-hit attack for the Rangers. We'll be back to Globe Life Park with more right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.